Mother, man.
Hi, this is Earl from Holcomb, and when I'm not looking at 4 dead bodies with shotgun blasts, I'm listening to Murder Metal Mayhem.
Spreading faster than a case of the clap in a trailer court. Able to shatter eardrums within a 666-mile radius. A podcast more brutal than all the rest. It's Murder Metal Mayhem!
All right. Little light on the subject in here, Chris.
I gotta get my mic closer. The fuck?
Little light on the subject here.
Yes, sir.
Got some new lights in the studio. And it is Tuesday, and we're doing that thing we do here at Horns High Studios on the Horns High Podcast Network, episode 145, Murder Metal Mayhem tonight, man. Hell yeah. How's it going, Joey and Chris?
Not bad, not
Doing
bad.
pretty good.
Hell yeah.
Work's
Got some
been
new lights here,
work's
so
been
I
shitty,
could
but-
see you again,
Yeah,
Chris.
it's not so dark in here.
I know.
Dismal.
I know. It was like so dark, I like didn't realize that we had our overhead light go out, and Chris brought in some LEDs and got it all nice and like feel like I'm on stage in here. But it's LED, so it's not hot lights. which
Not
is perfect.
LSD.
Not LSD.
Not a little different. Different acronym, but
Different lights.
yeah. What shirt you got on, Chris, over there? A little different. That's cool.
I got my fucking 47th anniversary MASH shirt on.
Hell yeah,
4077, baby.
Love MASH. That's
Fucking-
just such
it's one
a
of my
great
favorite
show.
shows.
It
dude.
really is. It's fucking awesome. Very cool. And Joey, old school.
Yeah, I got the Anthrax Not Man shirt on
Nice.
today.
Nice.
Thrashing.
Fuck yeah. And you Cubs hat?
Old Cubs hat, but I don't wear it as much, so it looks new. And my Megadeth lighter fucking...
Still?
No, it bit the dust.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah,
I was
so
going
I
to
don't
say
ha-
it's not Mega Life.
I had it until it died, so that's not bad. I put
Right.
a lot of flicks into it, but it's no longer with me.
But your Stephen King It mug, which is cool.
Yeah, I fucking love this thing.
Yeah, that's friggin' really cool.
What's your shirt you got on over
I
there?
got the Byzantine shirt when we played with them back at the Indianapolis Metal Fest. I don't remember the year that we did that. It's been a while ago. But they were really cool, and I've been on a kick of listening to them lately. And I was going through some shirts. I'm like, hell yeah, I knew I had one. I think I've got two that I've stumbled on this one, so
Hell
I
yeah.
busted it out. So.
Dude, isn't it crazy when you fucking got so many shirts? You're like, I
dude.
forgot I had that
Yeah,
shit.
you have
dude.
no idea, man. Yeah.
Dude, Cashman, man, Jesus.
Yeah, that's,
When we fucking moved, I fucking had this whole box of shirts that I didn't have room to hang up before. Now I got this big closet. I'm like, holy shit, I forgot I had that shit.
Right?
Like, for
Yeah,
real.
it is crazy. So, all right. Well, last week we had our buddy Tex on with
Fuck
us.
yeah, we did.
Talking about some Alcatraz. That was really cool. Good conversation we had with him. Of course,
Hell yeah.
the listeners love it when we have Tex on.
The Alcatraz was good. I had somebody tell me after they listened to it, they're like, after you guys talked about the food, I want to find a documentary about the chef at the fucking prison.
Yeah,
That's
right?
funny, dude.
That's pretty cool. Wasn't Gacy, though, because Gacy was a chef in Iowa. But,
Right.
but not at Alcatraz and not back then. But, we talked about some of the notorious convicts like fucking Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly, and Mr. 666, Inmate
yeah,
666.
He was on those docks. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was very cool. So it was a good one. And we had CK talking about the band Alcatraz, which is cool. And Chris, you had a good Mayhem story to tell.
Yeah. Family
And
fights at the hotel.
Family, Shawback Family Nation taking over a hotel. And we had a good Killer Cage match and just the wild stuff. And we passed 1,100 listens.
Nice.
When I checked it today, which is really good for a new episode. We're about
Right.
100 over the usual, which is great. So thank you, everybody that checked it out. And if you missed it, go check out 144. It's a good one. So, all right, now tonight we got another one that I've been excited about. I've been really doing a lot of research for this one for a while now. The 1959 murders going back a few years to western Kansas and the Clutter family murders, Chris. Pretty brutal stuff.
Pretty brutal shit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a family of 4 slain by 2 ex-cons looking to score some quick cash. they heard a rumor that there was some money, Joey, in a
Yep.
safe, and they were a little wrong. So
But
Not happy
It was
about it.
too tempting, though.
it was,
the
and the
possibility.
16-year-old girl thrown on the top,
Right, very tempting.
cherry on the top, so to speak. But things
She
go
is my
horribly. Things go horribly wrong for the 4 innocent people. They end up dead. It was made famous though by the Truman Capote book, In Cold Blood. I brought my copy in here. Really love the book. Considered the first true crime novel. So I'm really anxious to get to this one. Like I said, I've done quite a bit of research. I know you guys have too. So it's a good story. And of course, that'll be in the murder segment. So should be good. And we got CK warming up, ready to throw down in the metal segment. He's fired up. Going to be talking about Mastodon tonight. Not a band I'm particularly big on. I know he is. And I'm always interested to learn new stuff. So I'm curious to hear what he says. As I've said before, we played with them before they became known on a big scale. We played with them in Indiana one time at a show, like a fest. That was a mess. I think I told the story about our hotel room got taken by somebody else. And all that bullshit that was that night. But they were nice guys and everything, but it was good. The show turned out to be a disaster. But CK is going to talk about Mastodon. He's been running up and down Wildman Street, raising hell. Cops have been out there apparently a few different times. I think they got a cam out there now on Wildman Street.
Yeah,
you can watch it
just
live.
watching.
Just constantly out there.
It's like fucking, what is that? Cops 24/7.
Oh, yeah.
Or live PD.
Live PD.
Yeah, right.
Live Wild Man.
Live
Right, there you
Wildman
go. Wild Man Live. So we'll hear about his crazy ass in the metal segment. So got a good killer cage match tonight. Always fun. Chris, we got some listeners we want to say thank you to.
Rowdy Bonehouse, what up? That's a sweet name.
That is a good one.
Hell yeah. And then we got Ray McFalls and old girl Samantha Cram. So thank
Awesome.
you guys. Hell yeah.
Very cool. And we got another good one for you guys tonight with 2 fighting to death in the cage. Joey, who do we got up here tonight?
A couple people that love to kill, that's for sure. We
Right.
got Ted Bundy, who thinks he can fucking act as his own fucking attorney and actually win his case.
Right.
He's also a fucking escape artist. Keep
And
that
a
in mind.
necrophile.
And a necrophile. And he's going to go up against the fucking vampire Dusseldorf, Peter Curtin.
Nice. We've done that case.
Yeah.
That's a fucked up one, Chris. That dude was fucking whacked, man. Like legit
Like
drinking blood.
Like him and like fucking Richard Chase that like just drank the blood
Yeah.
and shit.
Like not
that
like
dude's fucking freaking
they
me
didn't
out.
use the name vampire loosely. Like this
No.
dude legit was a vampire. So they're going to be fighting with 2 objects and a variable in the cage to make it interesting. And of course, we always do that in the Mayhem segment. So give you a reason to listen. Thank you to everybody out there listening to the podcast. We keep seeing numbers rolling in. This week, 3,600, up about 1,000 from the week before, but that's because that week was a bonus week, and those do tend to take a little or get a few less listens, but still awesome, and we do really appreciate everybody that checks us out. So Chris, Joey, got a lot on our plate tonight.
Yes.
Going to be heading to the plains of western Kansas
Yeah.
to
lots
find a
of stuff.
family fucking dead in their house, murdered in cold blood. So,
Let's
Chris,
fucking- let's get our murder on, motherfucker.
fucking A, man.
Fuck yeah.
Some Byzantine. Love those guys. That's off their latest from 2017 song called New Ways to Bear Witness. They got a video for that. They're really great. I've talked about them in the intro, but man, another Metal Blade band that kills it from
I'm
West
pretty
Virginia.
sure they're on the bill for FTA this year. Ain't they? I know they were the last year we went.
Really?
2019, but
Huh.
I think they're on the bill again this year.
That's cool. Yeah, they bring it, man. Tonight we're going to be talking about the gruesome 1959 murders of the Clutter family in rural western Kansas, almost in Colorado, I think,
Yeah.
really close. 4 of them were murdered in their home in the middle of the night. It turned into, the small town upside down in Holcomb, Kansas.
You ain't lying when you say small town neither.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
mean, if
less
you're not-
than 300 people. That's pretty fucking small.
If you're not talking like Topeka or Kansas City,
Or Wichita.
or Wichita, is
Yeah.
there anything else in that state?
Not much. There's a lot of small towns.
I know every time I drive through there, I'm like, God.
Yeah, it's a
damn it.
long drive. Yeah, it really is. So these guys are, blinking you're through Holcomb, Kansas. The manhunt took the FBI all over the country, even into Mexico, trying to catch these fucking fools. They carried out a botched robbery and became the basis for the iconic In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. And we'll discuss all the details and a little bit of controversy, Chris, on the book and how he perceived what happened. And that small town of Holcomb, some people were really in support and some were very upset. So I'm interested to talk about this. And if it wasn't for a jailhouse snitch that came forward to talk to the FBI, I don't think we would have ever found out who killed this family. It was just too, the forensics weren't there, and it was 1959.
They were gone.
They were in Mexico. I mean, if they were smart, they'd have stayed there and probably would have never got caught, I don't know. But anyway, Chris, this is definitely a case that some may not know much about. But what do you think? Do you think a lot of people are aware of the Clutter murders?
I didn't even really know about it. I mean, I didn't know about it at all until you guys started talking about the book and shit.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I knew
think,
of the book before I knew of the Clutter, that name.
That's what I'm saying. I think if people know the book, they have read the book just because.
Or have heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, then they know it. But yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, so I think we're probably
I still don't know a whole lot. I
good
was
at
checking
turning
some shit
people
out.
on.
So I'm kind of going in this like, wow.
That's all right. That's all right. Now, Joey, I know you said you read the book a few years back, but what is it about this case you think that fascinates? What fascinates you about it? Why do you find this one interesting?
And a few years back is a fucking definitely an understatement. It was I haven't read the book in a long time. I read it whenever I was growing up because it was, as we said, considered like the first true crime, book in the genre or whatever. And it's like fucking. I mean, you read that and you understand, especially now that it's more of a fictionalized take of a true story.
Right.
It's not really fictionalized; it's just his completely biased take.
Right.
But that's cool. But so I grew up and I read the book, and to me, that's what was true. That was the truth.
That was the
what
true
I read
story,
in that
yeah.
book. And so then whenever we started talking about doing this, and I hadn't thought about it forever, this time we actually do the research and look into the actual case of the Clutter family, like
Right.
the real research and all that shit. And it's like, okay, that's cool what you got from, Truman Capote's book. But at the same time, the actual story is just even way more fucked up. And you got to wonder, like, way back then, it was almost dulled down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if it had been too over the top brutal, like your horror type novels,
Right.
then maybe back then you couldn't have got any kind of press for it.
It's possible. I mean, he wrote Breakfast at Tiffany's before
did.
this.
Yeah.
That was like his big famous piece. But so he was known, but this just blew it up.
Yeah,
I mean, he
for
became a household name
Right.
after this book came out. So it's a really interesting one. Like you guys said, I didn't know a whole lot about the actual case. I had heard of the book. I recently read it just on my bookshelf. I was looking up something. I'm like, man, I need to read that. And I did. And I'm like, man, we got to do this one. This is just such a good story. But it is not considered a factual account, as you pointed out. And even Capote said, hey, this is a true crime novel. You know, some of the details... I mean, he had thousands of pages of notes. He had spent a lot of time there. So he knew a lot about it. And, what I'm guessing is some people told him some things and then maybe regretted telling him those things because the Clutter family said, the book had a lot of inaccuracies.
I'll tell you what, if like some of our listeners and shit aren't big on reading and all that shit, a way that I relate what he did with that story is basically like the Blair Witch Project.
Oh, yeah.
The way they spun that, you know
As
what I'm
a
saying,
real
as
thing,
some
but it
real
was
shit.
new,
And then
yeah.
afterwards you watch it and you're like, okay, that was entertainment and
Right.
scripted. And it's
Right.
basically the same way he did it in book form back then.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
That makes sense to me.
I think, yeah, I mean, I like your analogy.
Right.
I'm just not sure if his is based that much in what didn't happen, because
Right, yeah.
there's a lot of stuff in there. Like I said, the book it's great, but like you said, if people aren't digging, sitting down and reading a book, I'm sure it's on Audible. I didn't even
Right.
look, but I'm sure it's
I
on
looked
there.
today and
I'm sure it's got to be on.
yeah,
I
it
can't
is.
imagine
It
it
is.
wouldn't be on there.
but it was longer than I thought it was going to be. So, 'cause
Oh,
I was
sure.
I did.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's probably 9 or 10 hours at
It's like
least.
14.
Was it? So I'm anxious to talk about this one. Now, Herb Clutter, he's the father. He was a farmer, a very wealthy farmer with a lot of land. And he was a hardworking guy. I mean, he was, very likable, but old school, kind of stern, but, he was, give anything to help people. His farm was called River Valley Farm. It was nearly 1,000 acres. And he had several, employees, working, probably some seasonal and people, moving through town. But he was very well regarded in Holcomb, which, as I said, very small town, Chris, 279 people.
Not big at all.
No, you
Fuck.
probably had more people than that at the Nation on a weekend,
Not quite that many.
About 2,000, though, in the last census, so it became a little bit bigger of a town since this happened. The nearest town is Garden City, which is where the police department was that showed up. That's where
Right.
they went to church, at the Garden City Methodist Church. Herb was very religious. Didn't smoke, didn't drink.
How you not going to smoke your name's Herb?
Right? That's funny. He didn't say he didn't vape, though.
That's true.
Led a very simple life, not unlike many in that part of Kansas. So, back in that day, that was a little more common. He was 48 when this happened. It's funny, too. You look at pictures, he looks like he's in his 60s.
Yeah.
Because people then just seem to look older. I don't know what it is,
Something
but
about
they
the
do.
picture quality. They didn't have it
Yeah,
all
the
right.
pictures and the hairstyles and
Right.
stuff makes them look older to us. Now, Mrs. Clutter, Bonnie, was 45. She was very sickly, and that is one of the things the Clutter family had issues with the book. They felt Capote made her sound too sickly, but he claimed that what he put in the book was legit. So again, you got differing opinions there. But she did have health issues, and she was bedridden for times. They had 4 kids, but the 2 oldest were lucky.
Yeah, they were moved out.
Eviana and Beverly, they were gone. I think one was getting ready to get married right after the book. So that would have been terrible. They went ahead with the wedding, but man, what a bummer. All your family's gone. And Nancy was 16. She was in the house. Kenyon, the son, was 15. They were there. And what was crazy was the day before the murders happened.
The day before.
Yeah, Herb was visited by his insurance agent.
Yeah.
And he asked him if, really kind of pushing him almost to buy the insurance, life insurance.
Another $400,000.
And Herb was really
policy.
careful about how he made decisions, really liked to think on it. And he wasn't going to sign the policy, but the guy was almost pushy about it. And he's like, all right. So he signed it and he gave him the check for the first payment or
Right,
whatever.
yeah.
And it's a $40,000 life insurance policy, double indemnity if he dies in an accident. The day before this
That's
happened.
fucking crazy.
That's fucked up. The salesman in the documentary I watched, they reenact it. Blush.
Thank you.
And the salesman said that, he had the check and he didn't
just
cash
never
it
pushed
yet,
it through.
but he just, the insurance company didn't feel right not paying it. So they paid him, even though they really didn't have to, because it wasn't until the money's deposited, I guess, that the policy is considered started.
We're talking a long time ago if you have
Yeah.
an insurance company having fucking
door to door.
Well, yeah, and then just fucking, not fucking people over.
Yeah, that's
that-
for sure.
Like
That's
that being
for sure.
sympathetic to the cause and paying it out, like you
Right.
said, they could have been like, like nowadays they'd been like, nope, that's not going nowhere.
Well, I mean, I had a thing with State Farm after the accident, and they actually paid out, and they didn't have to.
yeah, that's good.
So they were really good to me.
Hell
So
yeah.
I guess it's very rare nowadays, but it sometimes companies do the right thing.
If there's any insurance agents out there listening, we apologize. but
Right.
Damn it.
Now, Chris, people didn't think about murders like this in 1959, a much simpler time. They typically left their doors unlocked. We've talked about cases, though, from this time period, mid 20th century. I mean, plenty of brutal shit went on.
Yeah, like the fucking man from the train shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like back in the
Albert
day. then.
Fish. I mean, there's been
And also-
plenty of them, H.H. Holmes from the early to mid 20th century that were
Yeah,
downright
and-
awful. Geen.
Especially in the open Kansas, in a town that small with less than 300 people.
Right.
Nobody's going to expect that to happen because everybody's knows everybody.
Right. And that's really upset a lot of people, was they were really upset that one of them did this, They were just like completely blown away that like to think that one of the people there did it. And they were like almost hoping it was somebody from
random
out of
person,
town
yeah.
like
Right.
that, So now Capote spent a lot of time in the community of Holcomb. When he talks about it in his book, he goes into great depths about the town, the people, the stories, the legends, so to speak. I mean, very detailed setup of this whole thing, to where when the murders actually happen, they're that much more brutal because the setup is this tranquil.
Right.
Everybody's helping each other. Doors are unlocked.
Utopia.
Yeah,
in the
nobody's doing
flats.
some bad shit.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, we're
That's
not in
the
Kansas
truth,
anymore.
man. And these fuckers come in and just completely fuck them up. So to save some time here tonight, most of the stuff he got into was typical small town stories and
Right.
stuff, but very cool. And of course, people know a lot about each other in a town like that. We've all, even here living in Illinois, you know how small towns are, Chris.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
they
definitely.
very tight knit, don't like outsiders much, less trusting
Right.
of people they don't know
Like,
than.
what are you doing in my town, boy?
Right. But in like Bloomington or bigger towns or cities, you see less of that because people are from all over the place.
Right, exactly.
And they're not all from there necessarily. So,
I remember whenever I lived in Dallas, I went and saw some comedian or whatever. And he was like, who here's from Dallas? And all these people like, eh. He's like, bullshit, motherfuckers. Ain't nobody from Dallas. And I mean, that's how it is,
That's funny.
Like, man, every one of you is a transplant.
Right? That's the truth, man. So, you're talking about a town of less than 300 people. I mean, they are definitely very close-knit and everybody knows everybody. In contrast, though, to the pure white-bread Clutter family in Holcomb, you have the convicts. Richard Dick Hickok
Hickok.
and Perry Smith, a
Got his
fucking
dick
dynamic
pierced.
duo here. Both had just recently got out of Kansas State Penitentiary in Lansing, Kansas, and they were looking to make some money. Dick was
Get a
the
fucking
one,
job.
right? Dick had a job, but he couldn't keep a job. He was the one that found out about the Clutter farm from his cellmate, Floyd Wells, and he becomes part of the story, a big part of the story later on. But Floyd Wells tells Dick Hickok about the farm and how he had worked there at a time, and that Herb Clutter kept a lot of cash on hand at the house in a safe.
Yeah. I know where I'm going.
Right. I mean, and he had told Herb, or Herb had told him, Floyd, that when he worked there, that it cost about $10,000 a week just to keep the farm going. So he's probably thinking, damn, there's a lot of money somewhere
Right.
around here. But he assumed that there was, money at the house and that there was even a safe.
He was wrong.
Very wrong. And so Dick Hickok hatches this plan to rob the family and leave no survivors, which is definitely a thing that becomes an issue between the two. Now, Joey, Perry Smith had a pretty rough childhood. His parents were rodeo performers. He was half Native American, so at a time when that was not very acceptable, had lots of issues. He had issues with bedwetting and other things. What's the deal with Perry Smith's upbringing, dude? Sound like he was a mess.
Yeah, and it's just like you said. We've heard every one of these issues before. Growing up at that time and being any kind of different nationality, and especially in the middle of fucking white bread Kansas,
Right, being half Indian.
Yeah, you're fucking catching shit from people, and his parents being rodeo performers. If that happened nowadays, I'm gonna laugh at you. So I can imagine back then. But
fucking with them. Yeah.
But everything we say, and then like the physical fucking things that were happening to him as far as the bedwetting and stuff. I don't know if it's just because we talk about true crime and then we hear about the bedwetting because it's a possible link and all that. But I don't ever hear any other stories about motherfuckers bedwetting late into their life.
Right. Other than the serial killers?
Other than murderers and shit, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It does seem to be something they point to. And I know we've had Dr. Ramsland on before talking about that McDonald triad that has been debunked, apparently.
Right, yeah.
Weak science. But it does seem to be a common theme. You hear about the bedwetting.
Yeah.
But whether it's only pointed out because they're killers or what, but...
I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
It's like, hey, bro, you've been pissing your bed since you was like,
And he had a quick temper. And one of the childhood friends I saw in the documentary mentions that he had a really quick temper.
Oh, yeah, he was fucking quick to get in a scuffle.
Right.
Go fisticuffs.
That's right. Perry's mom left with the kids, so he didn't really know his dad, who went by Tex. So
Not our Tex.
Smith.
Not our
No,
Tex,
different
no.
Tex from Kansas. She was an alcoholic and would die choking on her own vomit when he was very young. So
you
that's a
think's gonna
pretty
happen to
brutal,
Chris is like, what a way to go.
pretty brutal way. So
Bon Scott, right?
right, Hendrix. So Perry was raised in a Catholic orphanage and abused mentally and physically. So kind of Panzram shit going on.
Yep.
Manson. This would lay the groundwork for some violent outbursts as an adult. So that little scuffle you talked about earlier, Joey, getting a little more dangerous now. He's also extremely short with very stubby legs. Any picture you see, he's got his jeans rolled up to where they're like would be like up to our like mid calf. He's just really short legs. But he's just mean because he got fucked with a lot.
Got that Napoleon complex too.
He does, man. He really does. So he's definitely getting fucked with. The court psychiatrist had him and Dick write a short bio about themselves to explain kind of where they came from. And Hickok talked about his attraction to young teenage girls in his statement, how he was ashamed of that. I'm surprised he even told him, honestly, because up to that point, nobody ever knew about that but him.
Right. And back then, nobody ever talked about that shit.
No, not at all. Now, his wife was only 16 when they had their first child. So, I mean, he's definitely had a thing for young teenage girls, not quite of age. But back then, and that may have been legal in Kansas, I don't know. She mentioned that he had thought of the idea of raping the teenage Clutter girl as a motivation for wanting him to go there. So in his own bio, he said that was one of the major motivations for the whole thing. And of course, he didn't tell Perry Smith about it. Yeah.
Perry Smith's like, we're going to get some money. And the guy's like, I'm going to get some pussy.
Right. Now, Chris, Dick Hickok is born poor in Edgerton, Kansas, but he has a fairly normal upbringing until that car accident, dude. He gets fucked up.
Yeah.
1950, man.
Fucked his head up, fucking disfigured him, and talked about it before, like head injuries aren't good. And
major head injury with this
major
one.
head injury.
Yeah.
So who knows what his brain's thinking at any given moment. I mean, who knows what anybody's brain's thinking.
Everybody said he was totally different after the accident.
Right. And
yeah. That's
super
pretty
fucked up.
terrible, man. Back then they may not have obviously didn't have what they have today, but maybe because he was poor, they didn't really give a fuck, didn't do much for him. He had a permanent disfigure. If you look at pictures of him face on, you could tell something's off with one of his eyes.
Right.
So he was, and very self-conscious about that. I mean, most people would be. So, another head injury story. And again, like the bedwetting, Joey, you wonder,
Yeah.
I mean, I had my railroad spike literally sticking out of my head, and I haven't killed anybody. So that's not necessarily always true.
But were you wet in your bed until 2 days ago?
No, I don't believe so. No, I don't think that ever happened.
Shit,
so.
I still piss the bed.
So, Chris, Dick, I mean, he's got, a tough upbringing himself, and this head injury thing is definitely an issue with him also being very impulsive and, fighting and just
It's
going in a
nuts.
bad way.
Getting hit in the head like that. Fuck.
Right. So these two, Hickok and Smith, become friends in prison. The idea hatched from there. Smith gets out first on parole. He goes to Vegas, but Hickok finds him. Hickok had been working in Olathe in an auto body shop, and that's where he bought the supplies that they needed for the crime. Now, Smith was adamant. He really didn't want to kill anybody. And he was adamant about them using nylon stockings to hide their faces in hopes that they wouldn't have to kill them. And in the book, they spend like pages talking about these arguments the two had about buying these stockings because they were running out of money.
Right.
And Hickok's like, dude, we don't need them. We're going to kill these people.
Yeah,
and
we're
he's
taking
like,
their money and killing
no,
them
I
and
would
bouncing
rather
them."
not have to kill anybody. Like Perry was like legit, like totally against any killing of any kind. He wanted to get away without having to do that.
Just here for the money, man. I ain't
Yeah,
trying to
and
take
Hickok
somebody-
was like, no survivors and all this stuff. So they even go as far as to stop at a Catholic hospital because they thought the nuns there would have stockings to sell them because every time they went to a store, they were out of black, and that's what they wanted to cover their faces. It's like, can you find a paper bag if that's what you got to do? Like, it was just really weird. He spent like 3 or 4 pages
crazy.
talking about it.
But you gotta think too, like Hickok, he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go there on this fucking lick to get this money, but I'm also gonna fuck this girl. There's
Right.
no
Yeah.
way I'm killing these people because I'm not gonna let them fucking tell anybody.
Oh, I
that-
guarantee that, dude.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I agree. I'm sure that's what he was thinking. He wasn't planning on having to wear a mask because he knew nobody was going to be alive to tell about it.
yeah.
So anyway, Hickok, he's not for it. So he figures his facial disfiguration would show through the mask anyway, the stocking anyway. So he just didn't want to spend the money. So they continued on. But this is a 400-mile fucking trip. Joey, Hickok recruits Smith to help him because he wants somebody that he thinks is going to be able to kill because of Perry's fast temper and violent streak.
Right. I mean, they were in prison together. He knows fucking this guy's attitude and what he's about.
Right.
They fucking went over the fucking baseline of the heist together. They were both in for it. The fact that, he found him out in Vegas showed dedication, and
Oh, yeah.
it's like, okay, well then this is you're my perfect fucking partner in this, I guess. And I don't know, it's weird because you don't want to have as many witnesses. So a lot of people, don't want to do crimes with a lot of other guys or whatever. So you want the less people to know, the better, obviously.
Right.
But at the same time, man, how fucking, even back then, how freaky is that? I was like, okay, I'm going to go in this fucking farmer's house who's got money, so he's probably got fucking guns and everything else.
You know what?
So, man, I would rather have somebody that got my back in that situation is probably what he's thinking.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, it'd be dangerous to do that one alone.
Exactly.
You got a teenage boy there who was a big fucking kid.
Yeah.
You basically got 2 adult males there.
Right.
So it could go south if you're just by yourself, and they would be armed. Being farmers, you got to know they got fucking weapons around that house,
Definitely. Back then, for sure.
Yeah. Chris, one of the things people didn't realize about Hickok was that whole thing we were talking about with the liking the young girls. And of course, he hears about Nancy being there from Floyd Wells. And so do you think that was
Oh,
a
no,
big
I totally
factor for
think
him?
That was for him. He was like, "We're getting this money." Like Cash said, "This girl's mine," and then he offered, like, basically told Perry that,
Yeah,
this
you
was
could
the
have her when
plan.
I'm done.
Yeah, he's basically like, "I'm gonna go rape this girl, and then when I'm done, it's your turn." Perry fucking flipped
Yeah.
his shit, like, "Dude, fuck no, this isn't.
Yeah,
happening,
he was
dude.
not about any of that.
None of that.
And
So-
according to the the two of them, it sounds like what Perry was saying was correct, that he really put up a fight and actually physically
Stop
got
them
into an
from-
altercation with him. Like, no, dude, we
Right.
need to get the hell out of here. Like, there's no time for that bullshit. And then, of course, it goes south from there. But very, very interesting. That he's got this fucking guy with a fast temper in a fucking volatile situation like that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really no surprise that things happen the way they did. I mean, it just was like oil on a fucking fire, just
Fuck.
those two together in that situation.
Yeah.
It was just like the perfect storm, which is awful, for these people. So November 14th, 1959, Perry Smith and Dick Hickok start that 400-mile trip from Dick's parents' house in Holcomb. They arrived in the early hours of November 15th. It took them a while to find the place. Almost gave up, but the directions from Floyd Wells eventually...
How you going to get lost in a town of less than 300 people?
Well, they lived off the beaten path. It was like a private road up to
Okay.
their house. So
Okay, it wasn't
they
like-
said, I mean, it took a little bit, especially in the dark.
Yeah,
And
okay.
no lights, it's all dark where they're at. So, I mean, that'd be hard to find it. But they did, obviously. They did find it. And Perry's very, very nervous about Dick repeatedly. He said the entire fucking drive out there, all they talked about was, we're going to have to, no survivors, we're going to have to kill everybody. And Smith was just like, fuck that. He just really didn't want to do that. And there is a little bit.
He's like, we can go in here and just fucking rob these people, get the money,
Right.
and not have to escalate any kind of violence. I don't know what the fuck your problem is, why you keep fucking saying.
Exactly. Let us wear some masks,
Yeah.
like I'm suggesting.
Yep, and then Dick Hickok, he's like, we're going in there and we're going to fucking get the money and then we're going to fucking wipe these fuckers out.
Right.
And it's not going to matter if they see our face.
Yeah, because they've got a shotgun with them. They've got
Yeah.
a big ass fucking hunting like Bowie knife. I mean, they're ready to do some damage. But Perry claims, at least, that he was not up for that. I also read a little bit of speculation, Joey, that Perry Smith may have been gay, and that he might have had feelings for Hickok, but then I didn't see that anywhere else. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Did you stumble on any of that?
I didn't really see that, and I know they wouldn't have wrote it in the book back then.
No, especially with
But-
Capote being gay. But,
Right,
But
but,
back then that was more taboo.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. I don't know. I mean, they do say that, when they did stop for prostitutes, Perry never wanted to be a part of that. Who knows? I mean, it's not like everybody is up for prostitute. I mean, that to me, that's pretty fucking nasty, man. I don't.
Hookers, weed, and beer, baby.
I just, yeah, no. So, I mean, I'm with them. If that was the deal, no, that's just foul.
Right.
No. But anyway, they're able to enter the Clutter home through a side door that led to Herb's office. So again, like everybody else in town, doors are unlocked. They go right in. They're looking around for the safe, figuring that's where it would be, but they can't find one. So now, they're starting to flip out, like, where's the safe, And the guy, I think, had actually described where in the room it was supposed to be, or he believed it was.
Thought it would, yeah.
And that's not anywhere, but that was the first place they looked. Of course, it's not there.
I mean, they're basing everything off the words of a convict.
Right,
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. Neither of them had seen it, so they're
No.
just listening to how he's
Like,
describing
oh,
it. And
motherfucker, he said over here.
he's a
like,
convict, yeah.
Yeah.
he
Dick,
just got you committing more crimes just so you can come back.
I just wanted you to come back and hang out
Right,
with me.
exactly.
that's right.
That's
Tell
what-
me the
that's what I'm
story
saying.
about how'd old Nancy look, hanging those clothes out on the line. But yeah, they're looking for a safe. They can't find one. So in the commotion, of course, Herb awakens. He comes downstairs. He confronts them in a nonviolent kind of way, very like, what the hell are you doing in my house? I'm sure. But he was very agreeable with them. They were asking him, where's the cash? Where's the safe? He's like, guys, there's no safe here. I keep very little cash.
Like,
I don't
know why
do
you
that.
think there's fucking money here.
Yeah, like I'm not sure what you guys are looking for. And anybody apparently that knew Herb back then, he always used checks. He almost never kept cash on hand. He was all about putting the money in the bank where it's
That way
safe.
it's safe. Fucking-
And
That's the safe motherfucker was talking about.
Yeah,
the bank
exactly.
safe.
Yeah, right. He's like, there's no safe here. Like, we don't keep cash here. So anyway, they don't believe him, or at least Dick didn't believe him. Apparently, that's just how he was. So it wouldn't have surprised
And it
anyone
pissed him
else,
the
but
fuck
they didn't know.
off.
And they're getting pissed off. So they don't know how that Floyd got the idea that was a safe. And I think it was because he thought there was all this money to keep the farm going every week, as he told him. And he just figured that there was cash laying around,
Not checks.
Right. So Perry, he cuts the phone line coming in. So they got no phone now. Apparently there was only a phone in that room. They went upstairs and woke up the mother.
Phone, right?
It might have been. I don't know, man. They went upstairs, woke up the mother, Bonnie, and the kids, and put them in the bathroom up there with Herb so they could figure out what the fuck they were going to do. They decide to one at a time take him out of that room and tie him up and put him somewhere. So they take Herb first, put him in the furnace room down in the basement. And, they talked about how Perry, and more than Hickok, was like trying to make him comfortable by putting that refrigerator box down.
Right.
Like they felt bad, or he felt bad making the guy lay on the concrete floor. Like, that's fucked up, because this is the dude that fucking slits his damn throat in a minute. You know what I mean? So it's just fucked up. And then they put Kenyon in the other room of the basement where like the game room was on a couch.
Right.
So he's, obviously as comfortable as you're going to be, tied up waiting to die, but you're at least laying on a couch and on a cold floor.
Because this ain't going to work out.
No, this is not going to go good. Now, they take the mother, Bonnie, and they tie her up in her room, and then they do the same with Nancy in her room. So they're all in separate rooms. And, again, Kenyon's a good-sized fucking kid, and he's tied up with everybody else. They're asking her one last time, like, dude, where the fuck is the money? Where is the safe? And he fucking tells them, that there's none of that at the house. He's very emphatic about it. And Hickok is just intent on killing them so he doesn't go back to prison. But now the problem is... Doesn't
murder get you sent to prison?
Right? And, like, you're not going to get anything out of this. Like, what the fuck, dude? There's no money there. Joey Smith and Hickok get into a little scuffle once that whole rape discussion goes on. In Perry's words, Dick told him he wanted to, quote, bust her box out.
That's fucked up.
I thought that's fucked up. But, like, how fucking just gruff is that in a conversation? And once they realized there wasn't money there, Smith just wanted to leave. So.
Yeah, and Smith, his whole thing was he didn't want to kill nobody in the first place. He's fucking mad as fuck now because they come all this goddamn way.
Right.
And there's no fucking safe full of money. They're not fucking...
They're out of money, so they don't even probably have very far they can get to.
Yeah, they probably can't even get fucking back. And, and fucking Hickok, he still has fucking... other ideas in his head, and he's saying, "Oh, we can fucking get this girl."
Right.
And fucking Perry Smith's like, "Bro, if I want some pussy, I just go fucking bash out Bonnie's box over there." But instead, we need to get the hell out of here.
Right.
But yeah, they were going tit for tat over that. Now, if you guys are that fucked anywhere, I don't know. I guess you drove in there together, but fuck, if I'm Perry, like, okay, well, I'm gonna split them. Fuck,
right,
just fucking leave them.
Yeah,
there.
this whole fucking shit was bullshit. I'm out of here.
Yeah, obviously, in retrospect, that would have been the best thing he could ever fucking done.
Right.
But things get a little fucking south, Chris. The little bit of money they actually had there.
Like $50 was all like,
yeah,
like
$50 of some cash that the wife had in her purse, and the daughter, I think, had a little money.
Yeah,
maybe they all did, but $50 for
when you're
Christ's
a convict
sake.
on the run, even in 1959, that wasn't a lot of money, dude.
No.
Come on, man.
Pair of binoculars and a portable radio they took. So some people think that neither of them would have done this alone, but with the two of them together, like we were saying, they kind of
it's perfect
gas
storm.
on a fire, and they just fucking
don't think
boom.
I don't think Perry would have ever done anything like this on his own.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe, but But the two of them together,
like I
fuck
said,
yeah.
I felt like Hickok needed a fucking somebody with him to fucking push him. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
don't know if he would have had the fucking guts to go through with it
No,
himself.
not alone. I mean, that's a pretty ballsy thing to do.
I mean, I don't
in
know.
that time in the country for some farmer's house.
Yeah,
I mean,
You know,
I don't know about
you're
the
walking
details.
into
They got
some
away
shit
with
you
it.
may never fucking
well, they
leave.
didn't get
You
away
know?
with it, but
I don't
yeah.
know the details of the crimes he was in prison for in the first place.
Right.
So maybe he was in there for fucking, armed robbery and shit. But I don't know. The way that he fucking made sure he had somebody go with him on this is just.
Had it,
Right.
somebody's
It just
got my
seemed
I
back.
think he
yeah.
was mainly in prison for the bad checks, wasn't it? I don't know that Hickok really did anything beyond
Right, so
that.
then even non-violent. So.
Right. I think so. I'm not 100% on that. But anyway, not much they're getting out of this thing. It's just what a terrible, reason for this thing to just keep going. So the two go through the entire house while the family's tied up. They're getting fucking pissed. There's no cash like they were told. There's no fucking safe. They go down to the basement and Perry Smith cuts Herb's throat with a hunting knife that he brought. And what he said was as he was doing it, he was envisioning it was fucking Dick. And he was cutting his fucking throat because he was so fucking pissed off that
at him. Like,
he
why
put
you
him in
making
this
me- yeah,
situation.
Yeah.
You're wanting to fucking rape this fucking poor girl for Christ's sake, dude. Like, what the fuck is going? Like, we need to get out of here
fuck
now. This
like
is
he
bad.
should have, like we said.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think he just snapped at that moment, and he just fucking started stabbing him, which is fucked up. Because anybody that's watched any of those like Al Qaeda videos, that is an awful fucking thing to happen. So
Yeah.
I can't imagine the terror that would be going through your mind while that shit is going on. This is just like psycho shit, like beyond.
what are you doing?
So it's so crazy how Perry like literally snapped and did that. And then he handed the knife to Dick and he says, "You do it." And he fucking did it too. But Perry said like he kind of half did it and he really didn't cut him worse than what he
Just
had
kinda
already
stuck
cut
the
him.
knife in the wound.
Yeah, and then that's when the shotgun came out, and Perry tells him, shoot him, he'll put him out of his misery. The guy's obviously in pain, and Hickok wouldn't do it, and then Perry took it and just fucking shot him. But he said when he shot him, the light from the muzzle, you could see the look on his face as he knew he was getting it. It's like that fucked with him like forever. He like had dreams about that, and it really fucked with him seeing him in that light right before he fucking died, and then his head fucking exploding. I mean,
That's fucked up.
really, really fucked up. He shoots him with a Savage Stevens 30 shotgun. That's the one Dick brought with them. And he would later be haunted by that. And who would blame him? I mean, that's fucked up.
Yeah, fucked up.
He told police later that, he thought of Herb as a nice guy. And that's like I said, he put him down on this fucking paper or a cardboard box, which winds up fucking him, which we're going to get to here in a minute. So Smith would then shoot Kenyon in the head as he laid up on that couch in the basement. It's a bit unclear. It sounds like Hickok was the one who shot both Bonnie and Nancy, but it's a little convoluted because at first Smith owned up to all 4 murders because he felt bad for Dick's mom. He really liked her and he didn't want her to go through that
Through him getting
with
death
him getting
penalty.
executed. So Smith was like, I'll just fucking take it,
Right.
But then later he comes out and says no, that he shot the 2 boys or the men, and Hickok shot the 2
ladies.
women. That's what he claimed after he said he did them all. So it's hard to say exactly where that truth is there. A family friend winds up stopping at the house to pick up Nancy for church that next morning. And that's when they find the bodies and they're like, what the fuck? The Garden City police were the ones to come on the scene and see that shit. And Joey, what I find amazing is that nobody heard these shotgun blasts. I mean, these are 4 shotgun blasts in the middle of the night on an open fucking plane where there were people
It moves.
that were within reasonable range of hearing this, but how did that happen? I mean, I think, it's crazy that one couple winds up selling their house just because they were so traumatized
Yeah, they were so
that it
freaked
happened
out.
and they couldn't help them. and that they didn't hear any the old man said, like, I think he was even awake.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't hear anything. Like, he just felt so terrible and guilty that he could have maybe helped or saved them, but really, what was he going to do? But, it was like very upsetting, and they really knew them well, and they wound up moving. They're like, we can't deal with this. This is just upsetting.
It's not like there's fucking lots of people in that area, I
No.
mean, some people could have heard it, but it's not like they were in a fucking a town or something.
Yeah, they're
So
not
it's
like in a subdivision where they're like 20 feet from their neighbor.
So the possibility that
a couple of cornfields away, maybe.
At that time, at that moment, the possibility is maybe the wind wasn't moving right or something, and maybe you couldn't have heard it at that time.
Sure. Yeah, because it would have been like 2 in the morning, something like that.
And then you got to think shit like fucking, Ron DeFeo, and fucking he goes around, shoots his whole family, and nobody fucking heard anything. They're all in their beds and shit.
True.
So it's like
a lot closer,
right? So there's weird instances where there's gunfire and there's no response to it. Nobody heard anything. I know.
Yeah, because all these people have dogs too, and you'd think a dog would fucking start barking hearing that kind of shit going on.
Like I know for sure, like a few of the Ramirez fucking attacks, like the same thing. He used a gun and shot him, but there was no. And these are in fucking neighborhoods.
Sure.
And nobody heard fucking anything.
Sure. Good point. Speaking of Ramirez, man, the fucking sick Rick masks.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh, my God.
Awesome.
I can't wait to see ours. We're getting the one with the bloody fucking pentagram on his head. So amazing. So Rick posted some pictures about it. It's going to be really cool. But it's amazing, Chris, that they didn't hear
it is. Blast. Fucking like, because they're out, like you said, their house was off to this out the beaten path or whatever.
Right.
There might have been people close enough, but they're getting shot inside their house. So that's going to deafen the noise too and block the distance away.
Yeah, and it was November, so it would have been cold. So you probably wouldn't have had windows open at that point, maybe. So perfectly legit. Yeah, I mean, you're in your house and maybe like Joey said, the wind's just right.
I mean, that shit happens
far enough away.
Where I grew up, I lived 2.5 miles outside of town. There's a racetrack in Fairbury, you know that.
Oh yeah.
If the wind wasn't blowing right on Saturday nights, we couldn't hear the races. But if it was blowing right on other nights, it was loud as shit at my house.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like for real.
Yeah,
same
that's
with
crazy.
the football games. Like,
there
were times in Forest I could hear the football games
from Fairbury.
Only certain days.
Yeah, I'm that way with the Hayworth team when they play. It's the same thing. Some nights it seems like it's louder than other. Joey's having some difficulty over there with the dude. I try to stay away from that. He's playing with these little figurines on the.
No, the worst thing is I'm not playing with them. I'm just fucking smacking them.
You're just knocking them over. But they're so easy to tip over.
Yeah.
And like the King Diamond one and the Slayer one have like props that fall off, and the swords and the inverted cross fucking mic stand and all that good stuff.
Right.
All right, so very soon after the murders happened, the story caught the attention of author Truman Capote, who was very interested in it. The idea it happened in such a rural area just seemed to fascinate him. And he went to Holcomb with his longtime, this is just such a crazy coincidence here. She's a friend and fellow author, Harper Lee. She had just recently completed her bestseller, To Kill a Mockingbird. I mean, that's like the holy grail of literature in the modern 20th century, you know. Right. That's a big deal. She had just written this, but it wasn't published yet. So she was like literally on the verge of being like megastar, you know.
And so here he's coming, starting
with her because he figured he's very gay and literally and flamboyant, and he thought that's not going to fly in Holcomb, Kansas. So he brought her with him. It's kind of ironic because she's a lesbian, but she was, you know, obviously easier to speak with the locals than he would have been, very flamboyant. But once he got to know people, they loved him there. I mean, he was actually very well, you know, again, there were some dissenters, but there were a lot of people that were really happy he was there and treated him like royalty, you know. I mean, it was because he was obviously getting the story of his life, and they were getting a voice, you know. They didn't want it to be forgotten, you know. There were some people that felt it was good that he was there drawing all this publicity, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, but he's making our town look, you know, fucked up. And, you know, they made this thing seem like it was an eternity, but they caught these fucking dudes in 6 weeks. So I mean, honestly, that's pretty fucking good. I mean, especially talking about 1959 in a rural part of the country.
It's funny, you're talking about To Kill a Mockingbird, and this kid I work with he just started working not too long ago.
Yeah.
His name's Atticus. So,
oh, nice.
I'm like, every time I say his name, that's all I'm thinking. And so I and he's young, so I walk up to him like, hey man, I'm like, you know who Atticus Finch is, right? And he was like, oh, of course, man. He was like, my parents are a huge Harper Lee fan. They love the book, so that's why they named me that. And I was like, that's cool, you know?
That is pretty cool.
He was like, my sister's name is Scout. And I was like, that's fucking awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's a trip. That's funny. So it is a very interesting, tag team with these two.
Yeah.
But, they eventually, like you said, compiled thousands of notes from talking to, all these different people. But when they're there, they're not caught yet. So they're there right in the beginning. Like I said, this only lasts 6 weeks. The book would actually be published years later in 1966. And it becomes a huge success. I mean, like I said, it became, a sensation. Truman Capote became a, big author in his own right, So Harper Lee did, and then he did, it was like kind of a 1-2. But, Chris, some would question why he waited that long to publish it. Some would say, it was maybe because he wanted them to actually be executed.
That way they couldn't.
So he had an ending.
Yeah, I just think he wanted the true facts on a story that he wanted to write. Like I said before, it was a true crime novel. It's not actual factual thing.
Right.
So he wanted to see how it ended so he could make the ending of the story true. Maybe not everything's fact.
Sure.
That's basically what I think.
No, I agree, dude. I think he did it so that, he could see a conclusion. He didn't want to end it with not an ending, like he's still rotting in prison, type thing. They weren't on death row all that long, but, years is to somebody sitting on death row, that's a long fucking time to be sitting there. And, some of these guys, like in California, they're 20, 30 years on death row because they're not executing anybody in the state of California anytime soon. So, I don't know. I think that's probably what happened. He just waited to make sure it was over with.
The story to have the right ending. It might not all be true, but whatever.
And there were some
my own shit.
Right. And there were some, though, like always with any story, there were some people that said, no, he did it so that they were dead, and then the book would come out so they wouldn't contradict, they being the two that were executed, going to contradict what he's claiming. So I don't know. The police were baffled since there were very few clues behind. They looked into Herb Clutter, found, nobody in his family had any issues with anybody. It was an accident that a police photographer actually caught a picture of a shoe print on a box that was not visible to the human eye, but the way the camera caught it, you could distinctly see the print. And it's like the clue that winds up doing them in. But what's fucked up is that's from the box he laid down, so Herb wasn't laying on the concrete. So it's got a fucked up irony to it, you know. There was another partial print in blood on the basement floor of a shoe. So they had both of those things. But these would be the only break they'd really get. The killers were careful. They picked up their shells. They didn't leave any kind of things behind other than the partial print in blood and the one on the box that they didn't even know about until they developed these pictures, because you couldn't see it. It was just the way it glared off that box. It brought it out, and that was the way they were able to pin it on them. So very, very interesting stuff. And again, got a fucking tip of the cap to these detectives, man. That's impressive shit.
Right. Especially back then with the camera quality, like we were talking about earlier.
And I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like the chief that did it, because this is a small town. So like he was an avid photographer, I think. He was like it was like a hobby. So when, small town, need somebody to take the pictures, I'm pretty sure it was the chief that actually did that, which, again, just cool job, great luck, but, awesome call to take that picture.
Right.
Once they left Holcomb, Smith and Hickok fled to Kansas City. That's when fucking Hickok's going crazy, passing all these bad checks. I mean, what a bullshitter. To walk in these places and walk out with money, it's like, I don't know. He looks so shady. I can't imagine there'd be that many people that would fall for it.
Robbing people, though. Here's a check. Give me money.
Yeah, and I mean, he's writing these bad checks. And they gather as much money as possible, and then they make it to Mexico, which that was Smith's plan all along, was to get down there, start new lives. He wanted to do the Shawshank Redemption thing. He wanted to buy the boat and take people on tours. Same exact thing. I'm guarantee you that's where Stephen King got that idea. I can't imagine. It's just too similar. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I think true events, like we've talked so many times, do spawn some really good fiction. Just about every story you could think of. As a matter of fact, I was going to suggest that for October would be to do stories that inspired, true stories that inspired films and books and stuff. And I was going to talk to you guys about a couple of different movies I was going to suggest. And have you guys suggest them too, and just do that for October. So that was just the thought I had. The Clutter House, they didn't get much out of them. They sold Hickok's car and the binoculars to a pawn shop while they were in Mexico. Hickok also had the bad check thing, so he's got some of that money. And Hickok is just pissing it away, though, on drinking and prostitutes.
Partying, bro. Come on, man.
And they don't last, the money doesn't last too long when Hickok's in charge of it. So they hitched and traveled all over the fucking place. I mean, they were in fucking California, Florida. Eventually they get to Las Vegas, but they're bouncing all over the place. And Joey, the cops would get very lucky with a little jailhouse snitch. What was the deal with that, man?
Yeah, fucking, they're talking to, I can't remember what his name is now.
Floyd Wells,
his fucking Hickok's old fucking cellmate.
The one that told him about the safe full of money and shit.
He said he was in his cell and he heard it on the radio about the murders. And he hears it on the
news, and they hear about the Clutter murders.
And he went to the warden.
And he was like, holy shit. It was like, I was just talking about that plan with this guy that just got paroled fucking right here. So, he was able to give them up right there. They had everything.
In exchange for a lot of time off his sentence, too, because he got out not that long after that.
As soon as he heard that, he was like, cha-ching, I'm getting out. But it's crazy to me. I don't understand. You hear all the fucking stories of the fucking criminals. They're fucking trying to get to Mexico, trying to get to Canada or wherever, and they catch them like near the border or whatever. These guys made it. Like, they were down there, and they
came back.
I doubt they would have fucking got apprehended down there for these crimes. Not back then, I wouldn't think. Back then, it's like, okay, no, you're in a different country now.
Yeah, I don't know what the extradition was like at this time with Mexico.
Right, but they said they fucking came right back into the fucking United States themselves, and where are you going? You're going to go to California and you're going to go to fucking Vegas and Florida. No. It's like every one of those is fucking trouble.
Yeah, I mean, they were all over the place, and it's amazing they got as far as they did. But you're talking about a time when, people weren't using credit cards,
they were using
cell
checks
phones.
That took forever to get to the bank.
I mean, it'd be easy to skip around Henry Lee Lucas style and just drift around. So they did a pretty good job of that stuff. Smith winds up shipping his stuff from Mexico to a post office because Hickok was fucking with him the entire time about this suitcase. He had all these important things like pictures of his family and shit like that. And Hickok was like, dude, what the fuck do you need all that shit for? He's giving him a bunch of shit.
My shit. Fuck you, man.
Yeah, so finally he gets sick of dealing with it. So he ships him from Mexico to a post office in Las Vegas. And I guess there was a thing at that time where they would store it for you for a period of time, and then you just come get it.
Right.
I can't remember. It had a name. I didn't think to write it down, and now I can't remember what it is. But anyway, Hickok was giving him all this shit, and in that shipment were the boots he was wearing from the Clutter murder. So it's like, dumbass.
FBI already knows who they're looking for.
Right, because once Wells tells them their names, they start going to, well, they go to where Hickok was from, and they go to his parents' house. They see the shotgun there in the up against the wall in the house.
Right.
And so they didn't take it, but they knew it was there because it was the same brand and everything, what they were looking for. So they're like, it's too much of a coincidence. That's probably it. And I
Weird
can't
they
remember
didn't
how they
take
found
it.
the knife. Well, they wind up taking it later.
I
but
know,
not
but it's
right
just
then.
weird off top. It's
Yeah.
like, especially back then, it's like, oh, that's a murder weapon. Mine.
Yeah, exactly. I was surprised too, but I think they just felt like these people were so chill.
Yeah.
And they were chill that they weren't going to do anything crazy.
True. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they wanted to do it by the book and get a search warrant and come
Yeah.
and get it. But anyway, they wind up shipping the stuff back and with the boots in it. So the FBI, of course, know their names and they're able to trace their steps with all these bad checks they were writing, or he was writing, Hickok.
He's getting that money, he's making his hustle. That's cool.
They wound up finding the pawn shop in Mexico, which is very impressive, and that helps them figure out who these guys are. And then once they knew that Smith had been living in Vegas, they somehow figured out that this shipment from Mexico was going to Vegas, and they staked out the post office, and then he eventually came to get his shit. So that's how they wind up getting him. Of course, he gets the package. Boom, the cops show up, the KBI, the Kansas Bureau of Investigation, and they arrest him there. They've got the suitcase or the package. They go in that.
Sent with all the
Boom,
shit in it,
here's
yeah.
the boots. Holy shit, same brand, every size, everything fits. So they knew they had their guys. So they get busted, and it's fucked up because it's all because of the fact he was nice and put the guy down on the cardboard box and then
that's
stepped
what
on
got-
it.
yeah.
That's
Trying to
what
help
wound
him
up
up,
catching
probably.
him. Yeah.
He stepped on it when he's cutting his throat, pretty much.
Probably. Smith would wind up shipping the belongings. He gets them, and that's what does him in. I just find that very funny. I think it's just like so rich with irony of
Right.
like, God damn, what was the one the one with the boyfriend that mailed the knife back to his parents' house?
Oh yeah. Well, I can't remember what that
Jesus
was. That
Christ.
was hilarious.
Yeah, that was hilarious. But that was the. I'm trying to think of the name of the episode.
Fuck, I can't remember.
The name is slipping me now, but it'll hit me in a second.
Yeah, mailed the fucking murder.
Yeah,
weapon.
mailed the murder weapon to
It was
himself.
the one with, wasn't it the one with the boy and the girl down
Yeah.
in Florida, and they took off?
No, they
Or-
were in Missouri, and the mom said that she had cancer, but she didn't. And
Dude,
yeah,
I
what the
can't
hell? I
fucking
know
think
that's
of
like
that.
right out of my fingertips, and I
Fuck.
can't think of it. But that story, Gypsy Rose.
Gypsy Rose.
Gypsy
That's
Rose
it.
Blanchard, yeah, duh.
God damn.
But her boyfriend mailed the knife, so it reminded me of that. I just thought it was funny. But it's amazing, that they were able to figure it out. I'm really impressed with the job these guys did to catch him. Everyone in Holcomb is obviously very happy that the killers are caught. 6 weeks, I think, is impressive even today, let alone, back in 1959. And, that they weren't locals. They were glad, that they weren't
Yeah, when
from
they
within.
They were just got out of prison and came here just for this.
Exactly. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation agent Alvin Dewey, he was the big player in this one. He was driven to catch them. He had become very friendly with Truman Capote. He had him over for dinner many times with him and his wife and kids. They were very chummy, and he was very helpful in getting Truman the audience of the two suspects. Like, they got to talk to them while they were in jail.
Incarcerated.
So
yeah.
they had like all sorts of, him and Harper Lee had all sorts of access to both of them, and that was an exclusive thing. So in turn, they were helping each other out, and that's all well and good because, like I said, he compiled so much information from being able to meet with them and talk to them like that.
Like thousands of pages, and like I said, over 8,000 pages. Of
I wouldn't
notes from
doubt
all
it,
that.
dude. I wouldn't doubt
It's
it.
a
man.
lot.
He would, once they caught them, they go down to or go up to Vegas to get them. Alvin Dewey leading the way, and they're all excited in the KBI that they caught him. They drive to Vegas and actually get the confessions. He drove in the vehicle with Perry, and he said Perry told him all about what happened. Like, he totally spilled it on the way.
Because he felt bad about the whole thing anyway.
He did. He felt a lot of guilt about it, and
I'm just here for the money.
told him.
You want all this other shit to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure he spilled everything.
Yeah, on a long trip like that, if you're ready to break down, I mean, that's going to do it, you know. Since they wanted to keep them separate in jail, they get them to Garden City, which is obviously a small jail. They've got Hickok with the men, and in the upstairs where the sheriff and his family lived. I thought this was crazy. They got a cell up there with for a female because they had so rarely had them.
Right.
And then it was right next to their kitchen with like a window, like you could see inside the cell. It's kind of fucked up. And that's how they served the meals and stuff up there.
That's fucking crazy.
And the sheriff's wife would cook. And she got to know Perry Smith very well. And I can't remember what his favorite dish was, but she made it for him all the time. She was like really nice to this guy and said he was very, very not what you would expect of somebody that would do that.
When you think of somebody that did that horrible shit.
Yeah, there was a bird. Or a squirrel. It was a squirrel that he was like came and fed it, like hand fed it, and like became like his friend. And she was just like, you wouldn't imagine a guy that did this kind of stuff and read a lot, wrote, I guess, a lot of letters and stuff.
Probably polite and fucking
very,
everything else. Yeah,
very polite. So it was just so odd, and she felt so bad to know that he had done this terrible thing. And that here's her family, like on the other side of these bars. I mean, it's fucked up.
That's just fucking weird, man.
It is fucked up.
Could you imagine that?
No.
I mean,
not at all.
Weird.
That, like, you have I mean, I get it. It was supposedly for female.
Still, though.
I mean,
That's where he kept his females locked up.
fucking goddamn David Parker Ray shit.
Right? So Alvin Dewey is fucking all pumped up. They go pick him up. And so they've got him, you know, Hickok's down in the men's part of the jail, and he's talking all kinds of shit, acting like a celebrity, fucking telling the stories.
Yeah.
He's a fucking fool, man. And Chris, it's crazy how they did that back then with the inmates living in the living quarters.
That's
just weird.
what I'm saying, dude. That's what I was just saying.
Yeah.
Fuck that, man. I ain't doing
Yeah. I mean, we were just talking last week, Chris, about with Alcatraz, where the inmates, you know, are there, and then you got the warden and his family and some of the guards and their families in like barracks.
On the same island, yeah. Fuck
Yeah,
that.
I mean, that's fucked up.
But this is in your house. It's just
That's
like a
true,
cage in
man.
your house.
That's
and your
true.
kids walking around like, oh, we got another pet. When's this one going to die?
Right? Yeah, just so fucked up. But Capote and Smith, you know, they become very friendly. And an army bunny of Perry Smith, Don Cullivan, read a Time magazine article about the murders and couldn't believe that when he saw Perry Smith's name. They were very close in the Army. You know, he actually wrote to Smith, and Smith replied and was all about, you know, yeah, I'd love to see you. And he flew out there. His wife thought he was fucking crazy.
Wait, you're going to see this?
Yeah, this guy just killed this family. Like, what the hell is wrong
Why
with
do you
you?
want to
And
go see him?
he just felt so bad because he knew he didn't have anybody else. Like, he didn't have parents. I don't know if he had siblings, and if they were, like, if they had anything to do with them. I mean, he's pretty much like completely on his own, and this guy knew that from being in the Army with him, and they got close. They were overseas in, I'm assuming, World War II, or would have been maybe Korea. I'm not sure. Well, Korea would have been later, so yeah, it would have had to have been World War II. He flew to Kansas to see him, and the judge let him sit beside Perry during the trial. He was supposed to speak, and I think he did for like 30 seconds. And they said he was like overruled, and like, you're done, and you're done. You go sit down.
That, like, you get
So
no
it's
say.
like, are you
Why
fucking kidding me? Like, I flew out here, like, I've been out here for days.
Can I
Like, my
talk,
wife's
dude?
mad at
Come
me,
on.
you know, that I'm even here, and now you know I can't testify on his character when I knew him when I was in the Army with him. He was a different guy, and you know, talking about the whole childhood issues and stuff like that. You know, Capote felt bad for him and actually kind of took a liking to him. Maybe, I don't know if it was in a sexual way or what the deal was, but they became very close. And one of the things was how short he was, because Capote was really short. I think Capote was even a little shorter than he was. So really small, and that seemed to have a bond. And also the fact that he had such a terrible childhood, Capote just felt really bad. And I don't think he had the greatest childhood, if I remember right. Grew up in a real poor situation. So he had a lot in common with him. And he interviewed him and Hickok at great length. And as we said, had all these notes and stuff. So he really had a lot of information to sift through to write this book. The trial is a circus. You can only imagine a little town like this, Garden City, Kansas, with media fucking crawling to place. But no surprise, you got Perry Smith and Dick Hickok. Big crime, all news nationwide at the time, I'm sure. There were newspaper people and TV people from all over the world, I think, there. But they're found guilty. No big surprise there. They try an insanity defense, but they're not buying that shit. Less than half an hour, man. They were like, no,
nah,
you're guilty.
You guys are gonna die. Fuck
right. Now, the court psychiatrist, I saw an interview with him on one of the docs I watched. He felt that Hickok's head injuries were a huge factor, and that Smith was a diagnosed psychotic, in his opinion. This is a doctor. He said that in both cases, that would have been mitigating circumstances in the penalty phase of any kind of trial. And he really felt that they should have taken that into much more consideration.
Right.
In the way maybe just giving him life and not actually death. I don't know. To me, that's worse. I'd rather just fucking die and get it over with than fucking sit there like that for eternity. No, that's not going to happen.
I'll take my own.
Yeah, fuck that. The court psychiatrist, that's what he's claiming. But the court just seemed to blow it off and said, no, I don't fucking think so. So after multiple stays and appeals for 5 years, so pretty short period of time in today's standards, like 20 and 30 years, they were both executed.
Life in prison now, for the most part.
Yeah, pretty much. Very few are doing any kind of executions. They were both executed on the same day, April 14th, 1965, at the Kansas State Penitentiary in what they called the Death House. I don't know if you guys watched anything on that, but the building is shaped like a coffin. It's pretty fucked up.
That is fucking awesome, though. Like, it's where you do the executions and you make it shaped like a coffin.
Yeah,
that's some.
That's some pretty barbaric shit there. Man. That's harsh. That's harsh. But that's what they called it, was the Death House. And they both ate their final meal separate, and they ordered spiced shrimp, French fries, garlic bread, and ice cream with strawberries and whipped cream.
Wait, they both ordered the same thing?
I guess, or they both had to order the same thing. I don't really know. Been, Probably that.
It's like
look, I'm not going to Burger King and Taco Bell.
Yeah, it's like like an airplane meal. You get the fish or you get the steak.
There you go. It could have been. Yeah, that's very possible. But anyway, Hickok was smiling when he went to the gallows. Said he felt no ill will toward the police, shakes their hands, and just simply, as his final word, says goodbye, and that was it.
That's fucking crazy.
Really fucked up. But Perry Smith, visibly shaken, who can blame him, spoke about how he felt capital punishment was wrong in his final words. To die. Of course you're saying that. He was very, he has like a whole paragraph. I was thinking about reading it, but it goes on and on. Capote was there to witness it and openly wept when Smith was hanged. So he was there. Joey, I thought it was kind of funny that they're both buried side by side. You got to think fucking Smith is jacked the fuck off that this idiot put him in this situation for eternity. I got to lay next to
this. I got to live with this guy for.
It's kind of like probably fucking tongue in cheek to the fucking prison staff, and they're
it could be, man.
It's like sticking a fucking husband with his nagging old wife for eternity. You know what I'm saying? Like, here, you thought you got away from him, but nope.
There you go.
Now you got to deal with him forever.
Yeah, it is pretty fucked up.
I mean, that's kind of cool if you want to go see the graves.
Yeah, you can see them
find
together.
One and they're both right there.
Right. I know Brian Ward has been to the site. He actually went to the county, the sheriff's office, and they let him look through some files, and he saw some pretty brutal shit. But apparently they were totally cool about it, so that's cool. I thought about trying to get Brian on here, but with schedules and everything crazy, I didn't even ask him. I feel bad because I know he knows a lot about this, but Brian knows so much about so much true crime. Right. So I know he's doing his own podcast now, and of course he's the guy behind the Dark History Convention, so he's a cool dude. Their bodies were actually exhumed in 2012 in hopes that a cold case that happened in December of 1959 in Florida, this one was fucked up in the same area where Smith and Hickok had been while they were on the run at the time when they were fleeing for the Clutter murders. Another family of 4 was murdered. The DNA evidence did not find a match to the semen that was left behind at the Florida crime scene. So oddly similar. They're in town. You can't blame them. That would be a pretty good assumption that it possibly could have been them, but they do not think it was.
I don't think fucking Perry would have done that again.
I don't think so either, dude.
Done that again.
I don't think so either.
You got me into this one time.
Yeah, I'm not doing that shit again. I'm out. No, right. I read that Hickok wrote a manuscript while he was awaiting execution called High Road to Hell. In it, he said that Smith killed all 4 of the Clutters, and he only shined a flashlight on them to help.
There's your target, boy.
Right? Smith apparently agreed, but again, not sure if he did that to protect Dick's mom, who, again, he was trying his best to avoid her being any more hurt than she already was. He didn't really have a mom, so, maybe he kind of looked to her as a mom to himself.
Kind of a mother figure, yeah.
Hickok also claimed the murders were part of a hit he agreed to do for $5,000, but I don't believe anybody gave that any credence, but he claimed that too. Again, this is one of those, you hear so many different things, hard to know exactly what's true and what's not.
There's only certain people that know what happened.
Right.
And 4 of them were dead before these 2.
That's true, man. That's true. He sent the manuscript to a reporter who told him he'd help get it published, but once the publishers knew Capote was writing in cold blood, nobody's interested in High Road to Hell. So apparently, Chris, that book never saw the light of day.
You know how fucked up that is, too, because it's like, I want to read that.
I would love to read that.
Anything that any killer wrote, I don't care how garbage it is, I want to check it out.
Yeah, that Gates of Janus is fascinating with that whole thing. Yeah, I need to
check that out for
sure.
Yeah,
definitely. That would be a good one to do for sure on the show, and I'm sure that it's on Audible. It would have to be on Audible as well.
I think I checked already.
Yeah, I was going to ask you with Audible, do you keep your credits, like if you don't use them, or do you have to use them or lose them?
No, I keep them.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I guess he serves, him right, because Floyd Wells, ironically, he was killed during a prison break. So the snitch winds up getting out of the Kansas prison, ends up in fucking that nasty one in fucking Mississippi. What's that, Angola?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the one I'm thinking of? That really fucking harsh shit? He gets up there where they're like work farms and like really fucking with you, and he fucking does a prison break down there and dies in the prison break. So,
well, that's what happens, man.
Right?
Snitches get stitches
in the ditches.
So he ends up in the ditches over there in Mississippi, but hard to say, man.
He did help find the killers of this family.
Right, that's the thing. Is as shitty as he did that, he also helped catch these killers that, like you said, Chris, wiped out this family, man. That's fucking horrible. Absolutely horrible story.
Because you were home.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, Chris, it's an interesting case. There's so much more we could go into about their time on death row, because they meet these others that end up on death row, and there's a lot of that in the book too, where he talks about
this shit could be so long, like it could be like a 4-part.
It really could. There's a lot of layers to this story, so I mean, we could talk about this a lot more. It's a really interesting case. Joey, a family's actually living in the home. I looked at it online. They get this big ass dog that comes up to the yard anytime anybody gets close, and it's barking like fucking crazy. You got to think this place is alarmed up because people come out there all the time to take
Yeah, because you
pictures.
got assholes like me that'll go fucking out there. Being
I
like,
would go
wanna
look
see
at
the
it
Clutter
too.
house.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I
see
wanna
She's
that
got a
big-ass
pretty
dog,
long
and I'm like,
driveway, so you could be at the bottom of their driveway and
Yeah.
totally see the house. But it's still, maybe 100 yards away.
Yeah.
But it's clear. I'm surprised they don't have it more like trees up or something to kind of help
hide the house.
hide
that
the
way.
house a little bit. But
the
it's
house
wide
has
open.
seen enough darkness.
I guess.
We'll go with that. Yeah.
But yeah, if I came fucking rolling up there and all of a sudden there's a big ass dog waiting, I'm like, I'm not going any further.
No. And you wonder, what if the Clutters had a dog? I didn't see any mention of a dog, and I'm
Right.
thinking that's odd for out in a farm.
Yeah.
You would think most farmers would have a dog.
Right?
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
If he didn't have a dog, that is weird.
Yeah, so it is odd. I
Yeah.
don't believe I heard any mention of that, like them having to kill one to quiet it off, or if it was not even there. I don't recall ever seeing anything about a dog. So that's the other thing that's to me different here.
Right.
Now the book is a huge success, Joey, but he never really did anything, Capote, after that. He gets really into drugs and alcohol, and he dies pretty young at 59
Yeah.
in 1984. So he was a fucking mess, man.
I mean, he was living a fucking high life for a while, and riding it high through the fucking the glory days of the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, and he started some stuff, but I don't think he really wrote anything. I know he never wrote a novel after
Yeah.
that, but he did write a couple articles, I think.
There were so many artists of all sorts and beatnik nature coming out, from
Right.
back then, and a few of them made it through of it, but a lot of them didn't, though.
True,
Like
true.
they got like
Get
he
sucked
did,
into the
right,
lifestyle.
You get fucking just completely engulfed in it.
Yeah, and he was just a fucking mess, man.
I'm gonna probably die like Capote, fucking liver failure or cancer. Fucking- That's
Well,
he was
I
pretty
hope not.
fucked up.
I hope not. But yeah, he was fucking partying it up. There are a few interviews you can watch of him on YouTube, and it's obvious he's really fucked up. If they're not in black and white, he's really fucked up. Because a lot of the old stuff is all black and white stuff, and then the modern Capote, when he dies in 84, but late 70s, early 80s is like train wreck, on some of these
Right.
talk shows. It's really sad to see him being, that fucked up.
You see the decline in the like you said between
Yeah,
the
the
black and
big
white.
fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I really liked In Cold Blood, but like I said, some people argue with the facts. The family, of course, didn't like the way they were depicted. But who would?
Right.
If your
this is
family
a
just
book
been
about
murdered
my
and somebody
family,
wrote this
what the-
bestseller,
Yeah.
it would be
Come on.
fucked up. It'd be harder to not think about it when you're constantly hearing people talk about the book.
Yeah.
There was later a movie made, which was a big movie. So they weren't, I'm sure, liking any of that kind of spotlight on them. So it's
that's
really
like
hard
the
to...
OG murderabilia.
Yeah.
Not really. Like the Gein house, that was pretty fucking ruthless. But
Oh, yeah. Big time. But that didn't last long.
right, yeah.
So, but the Clutter family expectedly would not be about this. But in all these stories, we talk about the different sides. Usually the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Right.
You know what I mean? People are on the extremes, but I don't know. I found a lot of this stuff just very fascinating, and like an onion, you keep peeling it and there's something else to talk about. He never wrote, or never said it wasn't, that it was a nonfiction book. He always said it was just a true crime novel.
Right.
So like we
And
said,
then-
there
which
are
is
some
basically
truths in it.
the origin of true crime novels.
Right. And he had to make, dialogue. So that stuff, you can only do the best you can based on interviewing all these locals and talking to them about their stories and how they spoke and that sort of thing.
Like he put work in to write a book, though.
Right. He did. Anything, guys, to add to this one?
Nah.
No, I'm good.
I think we did a good
Oh,
job with it. I think
Yeah.
that it's an interesting story. We're at about an hour and a half, so a little bit of a longer episode. But like I said, there's so much to do with this one. I did my research with a lot of really good documentaries that are out there. Of course, the book In Cold Blood, highly recommend. There's a lot on this if you look. There is a movie called In Cold Blood that's about the book, basically. They filmed it in the Clutter house. They got
actually let 'em
permission.
film
Yes.
the fucking movie in the
Yeah,
house.
the
Jesus
people that
Christ.
owned it let them do it. I'm sure they paid them dearly for it. But they shot the movie in the house, around the house. And yeah, so, but I didn't watch it. It looked kind of hokey. It was interesting. Robert Blake, which we could do an episode on him.
Yeah, that's pretty classic.
He plays Perry Smith, so that's kind of funny because, of course, he's been accused of murder a couple different times. So,
Right.
pretty interesting character, and the fact he plays Perry Smith is kind of weird. But there is the movie. I didn't watch it. It's from like the late 60s, early
67.
70s, right after the book came out. So, late 60s probably. Next week, we're going to do a feature on one hell of a brutal motherfucker. We talked about Richard Kuklinski, Chris. Whitey Bulger, pretty fucking nasty, man.
Yeah, he's a fucking beast. Gangsters, man. They just do
Yeah.
what the fuck they want. Like,
And
I
he
don't
was
give a
the
shit.
fucking one of the most ruthless, brutal. Did the shit himself. Like, he wasn't like making other people do shit to people. He was fucking choking people and killing people and doing what he did. And
Well,
it's a fucked up story.
He
It is.
wasn't the guy that would hire Kuklinski to go do his shit.
True.
He just did it.
He just did it himself. Yeah.
Kuklinski's a hire.
Right.
This dude's just out here like, all right, no, this motherfucker
Yeah.
gonna die. I'm doing it myself.
Yeah, and pretty harsh. Of course, he did some time on Alcatraz before this happened, but a very, very interesting story. If you watch the movie Black Mass, I just watched that over the weekend. Such
Is
a
that the
good
first time you
movie.
saw it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fucking awesome movie.
It's an
I
awesome
was gonna
movie.
bring it over and fucking show Chris. before
It's
we get there.
fantastic. Johnny Depp plays Whitey Bulger, just such a great role. And we're going to do that one next week, so that'll be fun. A little gangster stuff, Chris. I
Yes,
mean, that's
sir.
always
He
fun.
like gangster shit.
Yeah. Now, Joey, got any good page a day serial killer stuff for us?
I got
'Cause,
some.
dude, the ones from last week,
Yeah.
the Duval sisters,
Yeah.
and the Kitty Genovese story.
Yep.
I fucking YouTubed that shit, and wow,
Yeah.
both well worthy of episodes.
You told me. I didn't realize there was so much
Oh,
on those twins.
Duval twins, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
go
watch
to
that.
Yeah, I
YouTube.
definitely need to watch
Go
that.
to
That's my
YouTube.
homegirls right
Yeah.
there.
Go to YouTube and search for Duval sisters, and you will see these two crazy fucking bitches from your story last week driving off a cliff. I mean, like Thelma and Louise type crazy, pulling each other's hair, fucking punching each other in the car, going high speeds. They show the turns on the documentary, and the
Yeah.
cops are like, "What the hell?" And then they show where they checked their tire impressions, and they said they were accelerating as they were going over the. They think they did it. It was like a suicide pact.
Yeah.
And the one lived, and the other one did make it. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
Jesus
fucked
Christ.
up. But
Yeah.
yeah, you'll see it. And the cops, even though the judge ruled against them, the cops still said no because they said it was an accident. The cops are like, no. She had her foot on the gas, punching it over that fucking cliff. Yeah,
so
it's
crazy.
fucked up. So,
So y'all
so
keep
Page a
listening.
Day is amazing, man.
Y'all keep listening because we'll probably fucking do that one sometime.
Oh, yeah.
What you got, Joey?
All right, yeah. So for the page of days for today, I got some good ones. I got 3 of them. The first one they're talking about is Heriberto Seda, who he is the copycat Zodiac. That's what he's known for. He came about, his killing spree started in 1990 in New York, so all the way on the other side of the country.
Wow.
Right.
And at first, the New York police theorized that he may have relocated the actual Zodiac from San Francisco to New York and resumed his killings. But they did a handwriting analysis because this guy was writing them letters
yeah,
too.
it was all
and
fine.
right off the bat, they're
It was
like, "This is not the same guy." So
Yeah, handwriting's all wrong.
yeah, but he sent the taunting messages to the police. He sent the cryptographs, all that stuff. He claimed that he would kill his victims based on the astrological signs the same way.
Oh wow.
Now, the police, they consulted an astronomer who actually he confirmed that this guy's predictions were actually, you know what I'm saying, they could have been actual times that he could have killed. Like, he had
Right.
it correct,
Wow.
what he was saying. So, in all, Seda, he murdered 3 people and injured 5 more throughout New York between 1990 and 1993. Now, he used homemade improvised guns. He had, like zip guns and things
Right,
like
okay,
that.
that's what I was gonna
Which
say.
also is kind of a little reminiscent of the actual Zodiac because he didn't have, like, I think he taunted with other shit too. So, where was that? Oh yeah. So he used all the fake guns, but kind of like the Zodiac, he was trying to tell them that his unmarked shells, because of what he was shooting out of, you're not going to be able to link anything to me. You're never going to figure this
Right,
out.
that
That's what
makes
he
sense,
was saying.
Right.
And
Yeah, because he's got his own homemade shit.
right. So in 1994, he gets arrested for possession of a deadly weapon. And now they see this guy, fucking Seda, and he's got this huge bulge in his jacket pocket, and it turns out to be a handmade zip gun.
Oh, shit.
So his public defender is able to get all the charges dropped. And fucking,
what?
yeah. And Seda was fucking, and his record was sealed. So I don't know what the fuck happened.
Hold on. So dude's just out?
Yeah. So he's out. He had the gun. You know what I'm saying?
Holy
They're
shit, dude.
and this is a public defender. I'm like, who the fuck is your public defender?
Right?
I don't know. So that was crazy.
No, yeah. Who the fuck is your public defender? Goddamn.
Yeah, really, dude.
Now, of course, all this does is fuel Seda's fucking mind that he's fucking above the law and that he's not going to get caught.
Right.
Right.
He's like, oh shit, they ain't even got nothing on me. So on June 18th, 96, he's arrested after a 3-hour shootout with the police, who they're called after Seda shot and wounded his teenage sister. So whatever, they're in an argument. He shoots her.
Oh, my
fucking,
God.
The cops get called. He fucking gets in a fucking shooting spree. He has a handwritten statement. And he uses the same fucking letters that he had sent to the fucking cops, so they
Right,
fucking
with
know
the
what's
Zodiac
going on.
shit.
They've got his fucking DNA also from one of the stamps from one of the letters that he had sent him,
Nice.
so that matched to him. So Seda was the copycat Zodiac killer. It was
That's
in
Wow.
fucking crazy.
so
is
he was at a
crazy.
6-week trial. Jury found him guilty on 4 counts of murder and 1 of attempted murder. He was sentenced to 232 years. Now, he was serving time in Attica in upstate New York, and while he's there, he fell in love with fellow inmate Cynthia China Blast, who was a transgender former drug dealer and,
What?
Latin king
Oh my God.
who was serving time for a gang-related murder she claimed she didn't commit. So New York fucking magazine in 2004 put out an article called "Kiss of the Scorpion Woman," detailing their romance.
Oh my God.
From their first kiss. Supposedly, their first kiss was Seda's first real kiss in life. He's 35, and that was the first time he'd ever really been kissed, supposedly.
Oh, my God.
And then she had her wedding ring. They were showing it off in this magazine, and of course, it's tattooed on her fucking left ring, and it's Seda's initials with a minuscule zodiac symbol on it.
Yeah.
So that's them married behind bars.
Oh
What
boy.
the fuck?
There
Damn.
were two quotes that they gave with this story too that I thought were hilarious. So Heriberto Seda, the copycat Zodiac killer, his fucking quote right here just says, "I don't actually know anything about astrology." I'm putting that one on the wall.
Oh yeah, that's a must.
And then I thought this was cool, but
I'm surprised he would be the go-to
Yeah.
astrologer.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't go to him with a question about astrology?
so then I thought this was cool, and this was this was told by Michael Allen, he was from the Party Monster.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Because he was in jail with him.
Oh damn.
With both of them. So this is what Michael Allen, he had to say. He's like, so there's this drag queen in my unit who's trying to get a sex change, and she is dating the Zodiac killer. Oh my God, he is obsessed with her. He paints her these really weird paint by number sets like a soaring eagle or a horse. I don't think Cynthia appreciates the fabulosity of it, other than the fact that he's this crazy psychopath that's kind of cute. So that's what Michael Alex said.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
So page a day. All right, I got 2 more. Not quite
Page
as
a
long
day,
as that,
man.
but
that was good.
yeah. All right,
a
so
day.
this one, they were talking about the longest prison sentence in history.
Oh wow.
So this guy, Paul Geidel, is 17 when he kills 73-year-old broker William H. Jackson in 1911. So he's working as a bellhop at the Iroquois Hotel in New York City, and he goes into the guy's room and he's trying to rob him.
Okay.
But he ends up suffocating to death with a chloroform-soaked rag.
Oh, boy.
So he made off with only a few bucks, but he was left with the legacy of the longest prison sentence. It ended up being 68 years and 245 days. He received 20 years for second-degree murder, and his sentence was quickly reduced based on good behavior. But shortly before his parole hearing in 1926, he was declared legally insane and transferred to a mental hospital where he was until 1972.
Oh, my God.
Granted parole in 1974 at 80 years old, he volunteered to stay in prison an additional 6 years because he had no family or skills to make it on the outside.
Wow.
So by this time, he had developed a rapport with the guards. They took him to baseball games and other outings.
Oh, my God.
So he was finally released on May 8th, 1980, and he is said to have lived out the remainder of his years in a nursing home and died at 93.
God almighty. What was the name of him again?
Paul Geidel.
Paul Geidel. Wow. That's fucking brutal, man.
And then this last one. This is a fucking good one.
It's just life now, man.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
So page a day. And I knew about
it's
this
like
case.
fucking,
Oh, good.
oh, no, I'm talking about the prison dude. It's like fucking Shawshank fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't leave.
I've
Totally
been here so long.
institutionalized.
Institutionalized.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the last one page today gave me, and I knew about this one because, as I've said before, I'm a big fan of the interrogation videos, and this dude's fucking interrogation is like top of the line. But they're talking Fidel Lopez. So in 2015, this guy Fidel Lopez and his girlfriend Maria Nemeth, they come home from a night of drinking like they're getting fucking tanked, fucking shit faced. So now he claims that they were having rough sex. But this is before the details emerged. So during the drunken sex, supposedly this is what happened, because they're basing everything on what he says. So it's kind of fucking speculation what really happened in the beginning, you know?
Right.
But supposedly during their drunken sex, she called out her ex's name twice, which sent him into a fucking rage. And they're fucking drinking tequila and shit.
Yeah, they're fucked up.
Right, they're fucked
And
up.
some people get. I don't get violent when I drink.
Yeah, but so he shattered a sliding glass door. He punched holes in the wall. He ripped a closet door off the hinges. Now, what I saw and what I thought happened was that she was kind of in the closet trying to hide, and he fucking ripped the fucking door off of that shit.
Oh, wow.
And he was like talking in the interviews, like he's like, "Oh yeah, I do that when I get mad. Like I have a fucking history of violence or breaking shit."
Wow.
So I don't know, it was fucked up. But anyway, so he's breaking all this shit in the fucking place. And like I said, he ripped the closet door off the hinges, and I'm pretty sure because she was in there. He goes back to Maria, who was unconscious on the floor. So I don't know if he hit her. I don't know what happened, or if she was just wasted or
He's
whatnot.
just talking about what
She's
you saw in the
unconscious on the
video,
floor,
yeah.
and he begins to use various objects, such as a beer bottle and his hands and other things, to attack her. And he eventually ripped out part of her intestines with his hands because he said that they were fucking having rough sex, and he told the cops, but I don't believe this either, but that she wanted him to stick the bottle into her pussy. And fucking he was like saying like all the way up to his elbow. And so this motherfucker's in there fucking her with that. They said they found a fucking a straight iron was there and some other shit.
God.
And he was just fucking, but yeah, and like obviously he fucking reached in there, grabbed a hold of fucking whatever, and ripped her
Insides
guts
out.
out of her pussy.
God damn.
He fucking washed his hands and smoked a cigarette before he called 911 to say Maria wasn't breathing, and she was pronounced dead within 30 minutes. But yeah, like they went in and they saw the fucking scene, like in the closet there was just fucking parts of her in there and blood all over the place, and they showed that I don't know if he dragged her or she crawled or whatever to the bathroom. That's where she ended up dying, but there was fucking blood and shit all in there. But he's like, oh no, it was just rough sex, and she fucking walked herself to the bathroom and then got sick. It's fucked up. But yeah,
Wow.
Fidel fucking Lopez, man, that story.
Damn.
So page a day.
Wow. Page a fucking day. That's some good stuff there. Jesus Christ. That's brutal. All right. Well, I think we've done our fair share of murdering tonight, guys. I hear that music. CK getting ready to throw down some metal knowledge. So, Joey, tell us what the fuck we need to do.
Gonna be sitting on the bar still acting like a bank full. We're gonna get our man along.
Yes.
Known the world over as the master of metal, the crusher of posers,
and Murder Metal Mayhem's knower of all things metal, hailing from Wildman Street in Danbury, Connecticut, standing at 6 feet of brutal, punishing madness, weighing in at 220 pounds of poser pulverization, the one, the only, toughest bastard on the planet, Chris C.K. Kovacs! All right, great metal motherfucker.
Fuck yeah.
Cops are all over Wild Man trying to find you. You're out there raising hell, CK. What's up?
Yeah, with my gimpy ass.
With my gimpy ass.
No, you're brutal, dude. You got the cops worried. You're all fired up, as always, coming here to throw down some metal knowledge. And you're doing a band that's definitely different from Chris and I's taste in music.
Yeah, this is a band that it's kind of goes in that group. You either love them or hate them.
Yeah, Joey, I didn't ask your opinion on them.
I can take them or leave them. I appreciate them and their talents and what they do, and they're a big part of metal still, you know.
Yeah, that's why I'm interested
as
just
far
to
as
hear.
what I'm into, I'm probably not going to throw them in the CD player and just spin them too much.
Right. So I'm anxious to hear what you got to say, CK.
It's like I said, it's a band that's love or hate them, and the band is Mastodon, and they're from the hotbed of heavy metal, Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh yeah.
Which actually does have a little bit of a scene there. And the funny thing about this band is they've been together 21 years with the same band members.
Wow.
That's crazy, dude.
That is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. They had one past band member, but he was like in the band for like a very short time. It's basically been Brand Daler, Brett Hines, Bill Kelleher, and Troy Sanders. Braun Daler, I'm sorry. But Braun, he's just an awesome drummer, in my opinion. But like I said, this band formed in 2000, and they're still jamming with the same people that formed the band 21 years ago.
That's cool.
They started in Atlanta, Georgia, and they pretty much met at a High on Fire concert.
Huh.
Realized they like the same bands, going anywhere from the Melvins to Neurosis to Iron Maiden and Thin Lizzy, and decided to put all those influences together and formed what we call Mastodon.
That's a mythical creature, sir. Oh, I'm sorry, extinct.
They recorded their first album, Remission, in 2002, on the metal label Relapse, which Relapse is a pretty iconic label at this point in time.
Oh, yeah.
Did pretty well. It was a new sound for that time, so that sound, I guess you would call it the Georgia sound, because other bands have popped up in the area like Black Tusk and other bands here and there. And it's kind of like a combination between sludge metal, doom metal, and a little bit of speed metal mixed in with it. And now they're you can even throw in progressive metal. Because the last couple albums have been pretty progressive as far as I'm concerned, and I love them. So we recorded that first album, Remission, in 2002. Did pretty well for them. Still underground, nothing major as far as you know. But they had a little cult following at this time. Followed it up with Leviathan, which was a concept based loosely on Moby Dick. And obviously, if you look at the cover, it's obvious that the influences Moby Dick, 'cause it has actually Moby Dick on the cover.
All right.
Okay.
Fucking whale on there.
You know, another improvement from the previous album. You know, still on Relapse at this time.
I think Leviathan is the first one I ever heard, and I was like, yeah, that's the one. I was just like, couldn't dig it. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that album was like, their sound at the time was kind of like in transition.
Right.
They went from what you could be called, I guess, noise, like the Neurosis type metal, to eventually what now many consider they have a progressive sound. But Blood Mountains, they released in 2006. Still, no, they're still. I don't know. I can't remember if they were signed to Relapse at this point, or I believe they were signed to Relapse, and eventually went on to sign with Reprise at this time, and Reprise took over this album. So I think there's some albums available on Relapse, and some of this album available on Reprise.
Okay.
I think I have both, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be
'Cause
wrong.
you got everything. That's why.
Yeah, pretty much. But at this point, their sound is in transition. You see them kind of getting their sound together as far as maybe to a more progressive sound. Going less away from that noise metal thing, the grunge thing, the sludge metal, and kind of refining their sound to more of I would say definitely going towards the direction of a progressive sound, because Crack the Sky in 2009 was their breakthrough album as far as I'm concerned. I heard that album. I literally don't think I took it out of my CD player for at least a couple weeks. I was just playing it constantly, and could not stop listening to this album. To me, it was like so good. And to me, that was the official crossover from where they were to where they are now, as far as more of a progressive sound, more of a metal sound to it. And at this point, they're fully signed with Reprise now, so they have major label backing. The albums do really good. They're on major tours at this point, touring with Maiden.
That seems
Maiden touring with
that's badass going on Maiden, dude.
Yeah, that's
God,
a
who the
big
fuck
tour,
is that
man.
band that?
Yeah, New Maiden
they had a
coming out
huge tour.
September 3rd, man. That's going to be badass.
Dude,
Yes.
you guys.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys, but I saw this fucking meme. It was a goddamn. What fucking album was it? It was one of the Iron Maiden albums, but it was obviously Eddie, because Eddie's on the Iron Maiden
Right.
album. But the way it looked, they had this like the industrial yellow mop upside down, and it looked like Eddie, and it was fucking hilarious.
Might have been the Killers album where he's got a hatchet.
I think it was the Killers
and they
album.
replaced
yeah.
it with the mop.
No. What did it say? No. It said fucking run for the spills instead of run for the hills.
So Number of the Beast.
Yeah.
That's funny.
God damn it, that's funny.
That's funny. Sorry about that,
I got an
CK.
issue here.
Oh, what happened, CK?
Something happened.
What's
My
going on,
microphone
dude?
fell. I got it.
You got it?
No, my mic fell. I got it. So make sure I got everything.
All right.
All right. So getting on with
Mastodon.
Mastodon. Like I said, at this point, they're fully signed with Reprise. They have full label backing, and they're starting to tour and headlight their own shows at this point. A lot of shows they toured with Clutch, and they have pretty much their sounds are kind of similar as far as them and Clutch. Maybe Clutch isn't as progressive as they are, but 2011, after Crack the Sky, they released The Hunter, which wasn't quite as good. Great album, but a little letdown as opposed to Crack the Sky, because I put Crack the Sky on such a high level that it's going to be pretty hard to top it, in my opinion. And they came pretty close in 2014, 2017. They put out 2 badass albums. Once More Around the Sun in 2014 and Emperor of the Sand. Both awesome albums. And I gotta say they're on par with Crack the Sky. I'm not gonna say they're better, but they're definitely on par with Crack the Sky. And all these albums are pretty much still available physically. Obviously, if you want to go, the digital route and stream it, they're available. But again, I'm trying to push. These bands don't make shit off streaming.
Right.
So if you find an album and you really dig it,
go buy it.
If you're not into buying albums, maybe buy a shirt.
Sure. Or buy a shirt and a CD.
Shirt, CD, a patch, a pin, whatever they have available. Check out their merch and help support these guys.
I agree.
Because pretty soon you're not going to have these bands are going to be around because they can't support
sustain
themselves. They can't go on tour, and they can't. There's no sustainability in the music business.
Got to get a job, and then that fucks up the touring schedule.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
And
yeah, I
major,
unless you're a major label band, that ain't gonna happen. But
Right.
definitely check
Mastodon out.
them out.
Oh yeah. Well, you got a lost classic for us tonight, CK.
Yeah, another classic band they've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And the band is Sarah Thungle, and the album is, excuse me. Oh shit!
I don't even.
Got the wrong notes. Hold on.
I don't even know who this is.
My bad.
Never heard.
I've heard of
know
them, but
them?
I don't think I've ever heard them before.
Yeah, I've listened to it.
I don't think I've ever heard.
Frost and Fire, which I believe is their second album. Again, Sarah Thungle signed with Metal Blade. All their stuff is available.
What are
Check
they
them
like,
out.
CK? What kind of style is it?
They're like definitely a doomy type band.
Okay.
Kind of like a 70s feel, 70s vibe to them. Their lead singer kind of got to get used to his vocals.
Yep.
It kind of reminds me a little bit
Cassius
of
says,
Eric Wagner from Trouble.
Okay. All right.
But
cool.
definitely check them out.
All right. Well, very cool. Well, I'll tell you what. I hear that 666 fucking 6 music.
Onslaught.
Going to talk about what we've been digging and what we've been listening to. Hell yeah, some onslaught. 66 fucking 6 tells me we got to talk about what the hell we've been listening to. So, Chris, what have you been listening to over there at the Nation?
You know me. I just go random and play whatever. Today I was listening to.
Anything that's jumping out at you though?
Oh, today I was listening to fucking. I wrestled a bear once because I like how I wrestled a bear once. I don't care if y'all do or not.
I don't think I've ever heard them before.
I fucking love them.
Who are they?
I wrestled a bear once. But
Never heard of them.
right, it's all good.
I heard of
There's some core shit, but I like it, dude. I dig it.
I heard of Wrestle the Bear twice, but not once.
That's
I fucking
cool.
listened to
All
some
right.
Whitechapel today because I love Whitechapel. What else? I don't know. Dog Fashion Disco.
Nice.
I listened to some Dog Fashion Disco.
Old heavy core band, man. One of the first ones.
Right? And
Yeah.
I know all these years I never heard them.
It's been a long time since I heard them, but they're really bizarre.
Yeah, they're out there. I love them, dude. They're fucking
It's like
great.
the names always put me off. I've never.
Yeah, I know. They're great dudes, though. When they were in heavy core,
Yeah,
they were
Todd's
so cool.
fucking awesome,
Really
dude.
nice guys. And
Like-
they're just, the name is a turnoff for me, too.
It's just they're basically the same band as freaking
Polka Dot Cadaver.
Polka Dot Cadaver.
Right.
Never
Yeah.
heard of them either.
No, dude,
I heard of them, but I never.
check them out, bro. Polka Dot
Yeah,
Cadaver.
I like them a lot.
Yeah,
personally.
they're badass.
And we saw them
Yeah,
live.
Yeah,
that one time.
we saw Polka Dot
I'll
Cadaver.
check them out
yeah.
after the podcast. After
Yeah,
we're done
definitely,
tonight.
dude. Check them out.
That's cool. Well, that's good. Some good
And
stuff.
also some goddamn Polish the Ambassador, but that's just some DJ shit that's like EDM that you guys ain't gonna care
Oh,
about.
no. Oh, my God. Joey, save us. What the fuck you been listening to?
I was listening to Grindpad Violence.
Okay.
Thrash album's pretty fucking badass. And I
You
got
played that at the house the other day
Yep.
too. Yeah, that was fucking.
that's one with
dope.
the shark.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's the one with the shark.
I was listening to Schizogen in the car. They're from Germany, fucking brutal death metal, and I was listening to Traumatomy, who's from Japan, who's slamming brutal death metal. So
Fuck yeah, dude. Pretty nasty stuff. CK, you?
Yeah, I've been listening to the new one by Fractal Universe, band out of France.
Okay.
Very weird shit. Metal 1 minute, fucking jazz interludes the next. Weird shit. Kill Switch Engage. Never listened to Kill Switch Engage because I heard it New Times of Grace, and that's the side project of members of Kill Switch.
Right.
Aborted. And to cleanse the palate a little
Aborted,
bit, I've been
fuck
listening to a little bit of Jeff Beck.
Okay.
Fucking right, dude.
Hell yeah. I've been listening to, I've been mentioning them all night. Byzantine
Hell
from
yeah.
fucking West Virginia. They're so killer. Great, talented band. Amazing players. They're all really great. And then the band, Joey, you mentioned Terrifier, man, from Canada, right?
Yeah.
Winnipeg.
yeah,
Fucking nasty, man. Really good stuff that they've only got one album out.
yeah.
And it's really cool.
It's a
and
fucking killer-ass
thrashy,
album.
really good riffs. Worth checking out, CK
Yeah,
Terrifier.
they're on my playlist, actually.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
really, really good.
Weapons
so-
of Thrash Destruction.
Yeah, I
That's the
love
name of
that
the
title.
album.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right.
You know what else I know we all heard and listened to? I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys heard that fucking Iron Maiden leak.
Oh,
the
yeah.
single.
Oh,
the new
yeah,
one.
God.
That
Yeah.
was fucking really good.
Yeah, I was impressed with it.
Um,
September 3rd, it comes out.
I'm so pumped to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that, check that out either. All right, the 666 Club, we mentioned them. It's our Patreon.
Patreon.
It's how you can support the show.
Patreon.
$3 a month, you get special
Patreon.
access. And I'll link to that in the episode description. But $3 a month for all the cool shit, discounts on merch, the show's a day early, the karaoke as soon as they're done, and all sorts of other cool behind-the-scenes stuff. So
We got all
check
kinds
that
of
out.
cool merch, so you can get a 10%
We do.
discount on everything just
Yeah.
for being a member.
yeah,
We
it's
got
a good deal.
shirts and activity books.
Yeah, the activity books. We've
Yeah.
sold a few of those here recently,
Yep.
and you could color serial
they-
killers and serial killer word search. I mean, it's fucking awesome. And then
got a
articles
good-
that me, Chris, and CK wrote too.
Yeah, we should do a
Yeah,
fucking
definitely.
volume
They're
2.
getting a second run.
Yeah, we should do a volume
Yeah,
2
we should
to
do a
that.
volume 2.
Yeah, that'd be
Joey
great.
involved in
Get
shit.
Joey
Yeah,
involved in
it
that
did
one.
go well.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we got good merch, the shirts, the activity books. You can go link to the that in the episode descriptions. You can order this stuff.
And the Patreon doesn't go in our pockets. It goes towards making the podcast better and improving.
Yeah, and
what we
paying the
already have.
bills, because it's not free to do a podcast. You have to pay a fee, monthly subscription to upload them, and it's
You
not
get it for
expensive,
free,
but yeah, you guys are getting it for free, but we have to pay to make it happen.
But
So
we still got a little
little
still
bit
got
of
a little
overhead,
overhead that we have to take care of.
right? Now, Joey, you got a show coming up on Saturday, right?
Saturday.
So this episode comes out on a Thursday, and
Yeah.
your date is Saturday, July
24th.
Saturday,
24th.
Saturday.
2021 in
Yeah.
Chicago.
So if you're listening to this episode on the and it's new, then the Saturday afterwards. But
Yeah.
July 24th, 2021, this Saturday, I'm playing with Bitcheru from Colombia, and Sacrificial Massacre, Disinter, and the Monkey Man, and then the Goremonger. And that's going to be at Reggie's in Chicago.
Awesome, dude.
Yep, pretty
Yeah, that's
stoked
gonna
on
be
that.
killer, man.
You're headlining, Joey.
Yeah, not at all, but that's all right because fucking it's a lot of different kind of bands, which
Sounds
is
like a brutal night.
yeah.
though.
I like shows like that where it's a fucking little bit of a
mixture
Little
mixture.
mix,
bands,
yeah.
Yeah, I used to love going to shows that had a little bit of variety.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right, well, very good. Well, I think we've done plenty of fucking metal tonight. So, CK, what the fuck do we need to do?
We gotta get our mayhem on, motherfuckers.
Running outside the Nazca lines, you know I see you all in white. Hoping you grow the fruitful vines and the rain to give
Good morning. Thanks for calling Finley Gang Crisis Hotline. How can I help you?
Yo, this is Punky Brooks. I'm a Crip, Finley Crips in the 419, boy. I don't appreciate you telling that people the gang life is bad, because it's not, bitch.
There's Crips in Finley? Are you kidding me?
Don't be laughing, bitch. 419 gonna get your ass. There's a whole bunch of Crips in Finley. Bloods, too.
Well, this is a hotline to help kids thinking about joining a gang. It's a dead end.
Bitch, you don't know. 419 don't fuck around. Don't be telling kids that shit.
Are you the same Punky Brooks who's related to that white trash bitch, Sugar Babe?
Bitch, that's my mom's you're talking about. 419, ho.
What the heck?
I forgot how good that one.
Oh my God, I
dude.
love that one. That's one of my all-time favorites, man.
Anything that has to do with
Sugar Babe.
Finley Gang Crisis.
Yeah, that's
God
good
damn it,
stuff.
You
so
can't go
good.
wrong.
I'll tell you what, though, I watched
can't-
one that rivals Sugar Babe
Yeah.
and the Jefferson Davis 8.
Yeah.
There's a docuseries called Relentless. We watched it on Discovery
I haven't
Plus.
seen that, but I saw about it, though.
It's
Yeah, I
like
don't know if I- I
6
don't know if I could-
parts, and it's some white trash fucking Hannibal, Missouri, like crooked, like West Memphis 3 type police shit. Like
Yeah,
really bad.
I don't know
yeah.
if I could go deeper than fucking.
It's very similar to the Sugar Babe type
Been
thing.
Sugar
with the
Babe.
I
people.
can't remember
I
the
don't know.
names exactly, but I think it's like Lisa Straub and Jimmy is not Johnny Walker.
Sugar Babe.
But this is other case that happened like outside Toledo too, but it's all 419 too.
Right.
But it's the same shit. There's a list of characters that are just like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Right. It's like scripted.
Sugar
yeah,
Babe
so
ruined my
bad.
life for a while.
And before that was Mastodon with their song Steam Breathers. So cool segment there, CK. Due to the fact that we are well over 2 hours now, we're gonna Joey's got a short Mayhem
just a short
story,
one.
Yep.
and we're gonna do that. But we got some other ones coming up next week. We just don't want to make this episode crazy long.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think CK's got one for us next week.
yeah,
Yeah, I got a quick one.
I
next
got
week.
one too. I was telling Chris, we'll get to it like here in the future.
But it's a longer one.
It's a long one, and it's like I'm gonna have to sit down and figure this one out, like I did some of my past
Right.
ones. But it's whenever I
Oh,
follow.
I love those.
It's whenever I followed the Grateful Dead whenever I was 18.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's a really class one. But anyway, but the one I was gonna tell tonight, and this is just fucking so stupid, but
and it's recent.
it is. It's very recent. So Monday, I'm fucking leaving work, and like I stated, I'm not leaving work. I'm going home on lunch real fast, so I can go fucking get high. And but I stayed at work longer than I usually do before I went to lunch, just because there was a lot of shit to do. I was just trying to get everything caught up before I went.
right.
So I'm leaving, and I'm like, fucking. Not that anybody on the fucking listening's gonna really know, but I'm turning on off Veterans Parkway, our main road, onto Vernon, like
Right.
right where Steak and Shake's at right there. So I'm going fucking right. There's a fucking car in front of me who's going right. She starts to go, and then at the last minute, fucking changes her
I
mind.
hate
But I'm
that.
already fucking committed, so I fucking tap her. It's a fucking brand new Escalade. Like I'm like, Jesus
Oh, no.
fucking Christ. I get out of the car, and I'm just like, and my whole fucking day is ruined as fuck.
Right.
The lady gets out of the car, and oh my God, it's a lady who's like, I know her from work. She don't work with me. She's one of our best customers. She's in there all the
great.
time, like every day.
Oh no!
And no, but she's like, she loves me though.
Oh, wow.
We've been friendly since
He said
since
she
I've
was
worked
there.
there.
Imagine
He
if
said
it was
she was
neck
there the-
tattoo.
Oh
No,
no,
he said she was there the day the hook went through his eye.
yeah, she
Oh, wow.
she saw that. Like she was like, so whenever I saw her, she saw me. It was just kind of like, oh my God. And she was like, oh Joey, I'm so sorry, But obviously it's my fault because I'm in the back, so you're always getting
Right,
in trouble. So we pull over to the Steak and Shake. We look. There's a little bit of scuffle on her fucking bumper, like barely anything. And I'm just like, I gave her my info and my insurance. I'm like, here you go. She hit me up like 2 days later and said that her and her husband decided not to turn it in, which was really
Which is
nice.
badass.
that's
Yeah, it's a
cool.
good fucking.
But
That's
it was
cool.
crazy because literally, like, I can't believe that
That is
the
so-
one person I
Yeah.
bumped happened to have been somebody I knew.
Oh,
and,
man.
and I don't even know a lot of people around here at all.
Right.
So it was like when she got out, I was just like, oh my God. So
Wow,
that was
you
my
lucked
mayhem
out.
when I got to tap a brand new fucking Escalade and
Yeah.
learned a lesson from it.
Yeah, close call. Well, that's good that that she did the right thing. That's awesome.
No, she was there for real. Like when I had the hook in my eye, like she saw that whole shit.
Oh man! Now recently we did some fake commercials, and as we've said before, we had so much fun doing these.
Which we played the Alcatraz. swim
Yeah, we
lessons.
did last week, and so we don't have. That's why we did Finley Gang Crisis.
We just did Punky.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
So we got that one for you, but I wanted to play some bloopers for you from this last session. It's about a minute of it, and I think you guys will get a kick out of it. So check this out.
Oh, thanks for calling. It's the Seamus Sync. Oh shit. All right, let me try this.
Hey, I had Bulges take care of this little prick at work. They beat this motherfucking to death in the parking lot after work one night. Shit, he was in the hospital for a month and never came back. Let me go from the beginning. I had Bulges take care of this little prick. Oh, fuck.
Let Bulger Anger Management save the stress. Download an app and pain and suffer. Hold on.
Of course, we can work with all sorts of materials. We have wonderful assortment of home decor that's made from human skin. We have several lamps, a few sky curtains. Oh, fuck!
I took my girlfriend on one of the Well, hang on a second.
Yes, we have exclusive clients who love to purchase items made from human skin. God damn it. Yes, we have... I'd be happy to put ISIL on it. Oh, man. Ilsa, I know. That's why I stopped. I would be happy to put Ilsa on to talk to you about it. She loves to discuss human... God damn it. Fuck.
So that gives you a little insight.
Oh, my
as to
God. I'm fucking retarded, dude.
We have so much fun doing those commercials. So get CK in on it. So always a good time.
Oh, my shit.
All right. Well, we just wanted to share that with you. As you guys know, the Creation of Chaos book came out.
God
Creation of
damn.
Chaos 3. I appreciate everybody that's ordered it. You guys are awesome. There is a link in the episode description to get your own copy. If you order them from me, each book comes with an 11x17 poster and bookmark. The audiobook is going through the final review, finally, at Audible. As soon as that's done, I'll let you know. It's very close, though. I submitted a few stories to the Night Terrors podcast to be read on their show, and they contacted me, super interested in what I sent them, some brutal ones. Come to Jesus was one. I'd love to hear them do that. So once I know more, I'll let everybody know.
Fucking right.
And talking to them, hopefully, about maybe doing an interview and doing some podcast help, plug them, they plug us type of thing. I've officially
One hand
started...
washes the other.
Yeah, exactly. I've started officially writing Deeper Than Dead now, so I've got the Facebook page back up and running for that project specifically, so I'll be passing on details as it goes. Big thanks to all the listeners that have been interested in my writing stuff and buying the books. And again, go to that episode description if you want to do any of that stuff. All right, we got a good killer cage match. We explain how it goes here. We get 70 killers that we came up with and 70 objects, Chris. And we have some listeners that provide those random numbers that we can decide who's going to fight.
Once again, we got Rowdy Bonehouse, Ray McFalls, and Samantha Cram It Up Your Cram Hole Cram.
Nice.
So thank you very much.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. So thank you guys for your support. And we have another good one for you tonight, Joey. Again, who is fighting to death in our cage tonight?
Motherfucking ladies, man. Ted Bundy.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be fighting against Peter Curtin, the Vampire of Dusseldorf.
Oh, man. That's one sick motherfucker. Both of them are sick motherfuckers. And they've got a couple of objects, CK, they're going to be fighting with. These are some interesting ones here.
The objects are, they'll have a garbage bag filled with cat shit and a pet rock.
Oh, boy.
Now
the variable's a good one.
Yeah,
It's
the
a good one.
variable's like, yeah, shit.
Six dead zombie toddlers.
Yeah, that's
Oh, wow.
Toddlers are terrible enough the way
I
they are. Can
know.
you imagine
So
zombie
dead
toddlers?
zombie
man?
toddlers.
Zombie toddlers, that's some people's worst nightmare.
Like, for
Yeah.
real.
So that is an interesting matchup. Now, CK, I know you said that you were complaining last week you had to go after Joey. So I'm going to let you open it up, CK. What do you think is going to happen here with
Okay.
Bundy and Curtin with a garbage bag filled with cat shit and a pet rock, 6 dead zombie toddlers in a cage?
Okay, now here's my thing. I'm looking at both killers, and I'm looking at Ted Bundy. To me, he's a one-dimensional. Peter Curtin, he uses a variety of things to kill with. So my thing is, Curtin's going to go right after that bag-filled cat shit and spread it all around fucking Bundy after he fucking knocks him out.
Okay.
Then he's going to take the pet rock and shove that thing straight up his ass.
Oh, wow. Damn.
And when
Okay.
he pulls it out, he's going to pull his intestines and everything, that all his internals.
That's like the page a day you just read, Joey, about pulling out the
Oh, yeah, it
It
is.
is.
Holy
Similar.
shit.
Wow,
Yeah.
CK, kind of like Nostradamus.
I didn't know
over
nothing about that.
there. Of
It's
course.
crazy.
So,
You think
He's
the
gonna be
6
dead after
dead
that.
zombie kids are going to fucking be involved in this thing, Chris?
oh yeah. Then what he's going to do is he's going to lead the 6 dead zombie toddlers because they're dumb. They're fucking young and dumb, and they're just going to go over there, and they're going to fucking eat his shit up.
Okay.
They're gonna basically eat his fucking
Intestines
skin off
from his butthole.
and eat everything, and there's gonna be a skeleton left after they're done.
Wow.
So I'm going with Peter Curtin for the win.
Okay.
Ding ding.
All right.
Chris, what about you, dude?
I'm going to go with I don't give a shit about the 6 dead zombie toddlers because dead zombies have already been in the head, so they're not moving anymore.
Okay.
That's a dead zombie. A
Right.
zombie's already a dead person.
Right.
6 dead zombies don't mean shit to me. They're dead.
Okay.
But they're toddlers though.
Yeah, but they're dead zombies.
Yeah, that's true. Dead zombies would be a zombie that's had a headshot.
Yeah,
like in
that's a
Walking
dead
Dead.
zombie is a fucking
Okay, I'll
zombie
give you
that's had a
that.
headshot.
I'll give you that.
They mean
All right.
nothing to me, dude. They're just
All
laying
right,
there on the
they're just
ground.
laying there stinking.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. Bundy, he's like his body's in the woods and shit. He knows how to throw rocks, so he's gonna grab that rock, fucking throw it right at fucking Dusseldorf's fucking head, knock his shit out, bury him in cat shit, and fucking walk away with the win. And fucking go fuck a corpse.
Damn. Joey?
I think that Peter Curtin and Ted Bundy, I mean, Bundy's going to go for the rock. Curtin's not going to really care about either one of the fucking weapons. Problem is, those fucking zombie babies, I think that they're going to come through and fucking wipe the house up. They're going to fucking come through and bite the shit out of both of them, turn them both into zombies.
Oh, wow.
Then you got a zombie Bundy and a zombie
That's fun,
Curtin.
dude.
That'd be pretty tough.
That would be
at
pretty
least,
wicked.
At least Bundy's dead, fucking
Yeah.
the dead. So
Well,
I mean, there's that.
I'm going to go with the variable this week. I'm going to say the dead zombie toddlers are
Okay.
going to fucking take it.
Yeah, I'm thinking Bundy and Curtin, you know, neither's like an imposing figure, so I think they'd have to just be the quickness factor. I think if one of them gets to that rock first, I think they could use it to beat the other one up, but I don't know. I think the zombie kids are definitely, a huge issue. But I get Chris's point if you consider him dead as in
zombie. That,
or
they already got
I
a
meant
headshot. I don't give a fuck.
dead as in they
I know
became.
what you. I know what you
but
meant. I know what you meant.
But the way you
but-
parse the words, I think it makes
Yeah.
legit sense.
Yeah,
So-
I know what you meant.
So I think it's an interesting one. But as always, guys, a good killer cage match tonight. So I think we've done plenty of mayhem. So let's hit the outro. Fuck yeah, man. Terrifier
yeah.
from Winnipeg, man. Those guys are wicked. That song, Sect of the Serpent, like old school Exodus and like old school Slayer stuff. Love it.
And that
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
and that album was like 2017.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite like neo thrash albums.
Yeah, they're really good. Go
Weapons of
check them out.
thrash destruction.
Terrifier.
Are they still around, or are they one and done?
I don't know. I only saw the one album, and like I jammed that whenever it came out. Then I never heard about them doing anything else. But I know there's another band called Hazard, and they were like,
I have them.
Oh, okay. So they're kind of linked up together. So I don't know if there's like members that are cross.
Oh, I see.
I'm not exactly sure like the history into that band, but I just know that album was killer. And
Cool, very cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, the bumper music tonight, Mastodon, Terrifier, and Byzantine. CK, your intro music is by which band?
My intro music is by none other than Chrysics.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the
Chris?
Metal Mayhem, man. Oh, 12.
Hell yeah.
Oh, motherfucking 12.
And Joey, 66 is given to us by...
Onslaught.
Hell yeah. All the bands, thanks for letting us
Hell
use their
yeah.
stuff. Thanks to all you guys listening. We keep seeing the numbers coming in, so thank you very, very much. Good to see Chicago back up on the top. But, you know, all the cities, we appreciate it very much. We got some good comments this time around, Chris. You want to read that first one, dude?
We got Nikki Sims says, I'm a new listener from Dallas, and I really love this podcast. I found you on iTunes, and I've been telling everyone about it. MMM.
Thank you. We appreciate it,
Murder Metal
Nikki.
Mayhem rocks.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Nikki. That's a cool comment.
We appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Joey, what about the next one, dude?
Carla Jones commented, "How can you go wrong with four guys talking about serial killers and heavy metal? This podcast fucking kills it. Horns high from Cleveland. Oh, and fuck the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame."
Hell
There
yeah.
you go.
Nice.
Nice,
Yes.
Carla. There you go. All right, CK, what about the third one there, dude?
Charlie Manson Kills commented, I've been checking you guys out for the past year, and I really love the Alcatraz episode. I learn a lot from all you all, and Tex is always fun when you have him on the show.
Hell yeah.
Tex is awesome.
Hell yeah.
Texas fucking great,
And then
man.
Metal Goddess commented, thanks to CK for doing my favorite band from the 80s, Alcatraz. You guys all kick so much ass. I'm a listener in San Jose. So thanks, Metal Goddess. That's awesome.
Thank you
Cool.
much.
You guys can
Glad
go
you liked
check
the
us out.
episode on.
What's that? We had a lot of listeners to that Alcatraz
I said
episode.
Glad she. Yeah, I'm glad she liked the feature on the band.
Yeah, hell
Yeah.
yeah. Murder Metal Mayhem. You can listen to all the episodes. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can find us on all sorts of places. I've been listening to us on my Audible app. It's actually kind of cool. So, you know, you can listen really wherever you want.
We listened to the
Apple Tune, Spotify.
we were all at Shawback Nation and we fucking played it with the
high
speed.
speed.
Yeah,
dude,
I
it's
know.
And it was funny.
It
as
was
shit.
hilarious. I must have done that by accident. I think I told you
Dude,
this.
it was so
and it was,
funny.
yeah, I realized what I did and I fixed it. So, yeah, Patreon, we talked about that. Our 666 Club, $3 a month. All this stuff, again, in the episode description. Creationofchaos.com if you want to buy one of the books. And you could check out the episode description to order one. Voice of Dread, we're going to be getting together here doing some Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about
Dread.
Maximum Overdrive.
That's
I
going to
love
be
that
fun. And we can't let them go without hearing a karaoke song. I did this one for the Clutter Murders.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a song, you know, with them in mind and their town. So crank this one up. And until next time, keep one foot in the gutter.
shit. And keep your fist holding a shotgun.
Yeehaw.
Oh, that's right.
Well, I was born in a small town, and I live in a small town. Probably die in a small town. Those small communities. All my friends are so small town. My parents live in the same small town. My job is so small town. Provides little opportunity. Yeah! Fuck yeah! located in a small town. Talked to fear Jesus in a small town. Used to daydream in that small town. Boring romantic, yeah, that's me. But I've seen it all in a small town. Had myself a ball in a small town. Married an LA doll and brought her to this small town. Now she's small town, just like me. No, I cannot forget where it is that I come from. I cannot forget the people who love me. Yeah, I can't be myself here in this small town. And people let me be just what I wanna be. Oh my, yeah. Fuck yeah. Murder metal mayhem. Fuck yeah. Yeah. Got nothing against the big town. Still hasty enough to say who look who's in this big town. My band is in a small town. Oh, and that's good enough for me. I was born in a small town. And I can breathe in a small town. Gonna die in this small town. Oh, that's probably where they'll bury